Some of the content of Patriots Unfiltered may not be suitable for all audiences. Listener discretion is advised.
The world's original podcast.
Welcome to Patriots Unfiltered.
I would say that they were lacking some of the chunk plays. The last couple of games, you're starting to see some of those X's.
Thank you.
I actually thought he made two good plays.
I thought you were on a good track with Marcus Jones. You were right.
Stick with Marcus Jones, Mike.
Yeah.
Aaron's about to finger wag you.
He made a couple plays. The other development is Efton Chisholm returning kicks. He's just one
Tackles,
step
too.
away from getting in there. When Fred is wearing a cricket sweater, I know we're fully back.
That's tennis. He's got two sets with Borg later this afternoon.
Right. I like overalls. You don't have to wear a belt.
I just don't ever. You don't strike me as an overalls guy.
I got a piece of straw in his mouth.
I got to tell you, it was the talk of
got the
it was
straps.
the talk of the office.
Was it the talk of the
Absolutely.
All right. I like Booty. I like him.
Uh-oh.
But this is what he does.
He's so sick and tired of 20-plus catches.
No, what if there was a real, one of the best guards available? What would you give up for that?
Why would one of the best guards be available?
For the same reason that Breece Hall might be available, because the team stinks.
Well, I wouldn't say Breece Hall's one of the best running backs.
I think
He'd
he's
be
pretty
a
good.
running back.
Okay,
who's
whatever.
available.
This is Patriots Unfiltered.
Presented by Toyota's official website for deals, buyatoyota.com.
All right, welcome to Patriots Unfiltered. It is Wednesday here at Gillette Stadium. The sun's out for the first time in a while.
Guns out.
Yeah, we're through with our nor'easter.
Are they?
Yeah, we should have been wearing our rivalries gear yesterday because that
Stormy.
matched the
I
weather.
see what you did
Storm
there.
blue.
Storm
were
blue.
given
I realize how
rivalry
much the
game.
storm blue would feed into the actual weather around here. It jives nicely.
It does.
Jives
Well,
nicely.
hence the name.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, we're here. It's here. We're all back. It's Evan. It's Paul. It's me. It's Deuce, Alex, and Matt in the booth. And we're talking Patriots as Wednesday has become. It's turn the page day. We're turning that page to the Tennessee Titans. And also, Mike Vrabel, will get him a little later today in the show. They moved the schedule. It's about 1:25 p.m. We'll be hearing from the head coach live on the show. So that's become our Wednesday tradition. But obviously, if you guys have any news, we'll get to that. But we're turning the page to Nashville.
Oh boy.
Do we have any news?
No,
I don't have any news.
no, I don't really have any news about the Patriots. I think we just continue to see a lot of excitement from the fan base. You know,
Yeah.
really, everybody is. I think it's been a long few years before you had. I mean, 2021, you started to get. There was a run. I think they won 6 games, 7 games in a row, something like that. And you felt like, oh, the Patriots are back, and you started talking about playoff seeding and all those kind of things. So I just think it's nice for the fans to be able to have some positivity right now and have some belief and not feel like you're looking at this team like, oh my God, we are in the wilderness and I don't know how we're ever going to get out. Now it looks like Drake May might be the way out, and that's what you need in the league. So I like the excitement. Everybody's fired up. It's the new stats.
I'm excited too, but is there anything in the back of your mind that's like, I gotta just pump the brakes, as they say on Paul's shows? Just like, we're in weeks, 6 games in. Let's just hold on.
I mean,
teams are starting to get tape on now this new Patriots team and what they do and how they're winning and how that can affect the future. We just don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I hear that. I mean, I don't really feel like I've gotten ahead of myself, and I think I'm thinking more about next year and the year after that and the positive vibes going through that. I still think this is a team that lacks some depth and has some holes and has some things that they might not be able to completely fix until the offseason, but that doesn't mean that they can't continue to win football games and, continue in the right direction and see Drake progress. And I mean, I think we can all acknowledge that there's going to be probably a game where they don't play all that great coming up at some point, and that's just the way the NFL goes. But just love the feeling that even when they don't have their A game, you're starting to feel a little bit like with Drake and his ability to throw the ball down the field that maybe you might not be out of games. Another team gets a 10-point lead. It's now you might be just one Drake May throw away from you're only down by 3 now, whereas before 10 points felt like, well, we're going to need a 12-play drive to get, a field goal. That's the grind that it used to feel like. So that's how encouraged I am, but I don't know. I know it's easy for people to get ahead of themselves, and I don't want to rain on
Get
that
ahead of
parade. If you want to do it, go for it.
But I think
As fans, get ahead of yourself.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
team is stunk.
Yeah,
like
but-
3 years.
let's have fun. I mean,
Yeah.
like Vrabel said, celebrate it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was exactly where I was going to go with it. Like, the head coach after the game is saying, we need to celebrate wins, and we need to enjoy winning. in this league. And if you're a fan and you want to get a little ahead of yourself and start talking, big picture about where this team is headed, then go for it. But that doesn't mean, there are still two glaring issues on the team right now, and that's the running game and the pass defense that statistically are not very good right now. And so they still have to fix those things. If they're truly going to go big places this year, like they're going to have to find a running game and they're going to have to be a little bit better in pass defense in order to get there. But as a fan, I think you've earned 2 back-to-back 4-win seasons. If you want to be excited that they're in this position now, then go for it. Have at it.
I mean, I feel the same way, and it's mostly what Mike said about Drake May. And I recognize the flaws of the team, and I also recognize sort of, the softness of the schedule. So I'm not getting ahead of myself, but I do think that it's the difference for me is that the quarterback is just getting better and developing in front of us every week, and that gives you a chance. And you can be one of those teams that, well, I don't want to write off Kansas City because they still got Mahomes. And even if he doesn't have anybody around him, they're still dangerous. And I'm not saying that Drake May is anywhere near that level yet. But that's where I think, we could be looking at in a couple of years if he continues to develop the way he has. You will have a chance. And then when you get the pieces around him that you're looking for, you got 2 young offensive linemen in place. If those guys pan out, and then you go like 3 years ahead, now you have a solid offensive line, right? With a solid quarterback. Maybe you draft, maybe Kyle Williams and Travion Henderson are a big part of your offense then. So all of a sudden, that's how you do it. Again, we're getting a little ahead of ourselves, but the excitement to me is Drake May.
And I agree. But talking about May, there's been other quarterbacks in the past that have come out and they get hot and they get streaky.
You're right.
And, even our friend Brian Hoyer has had streaks in the NFL. But the difference between those, like Steve DeBerg,
Hoy just took a strike.
You were doing shotgun drops in the office yesterday.
He was. But the difference between like those streaky quarterbacks and Drake May is, I think the talent on Drake May is something that's not streaky. It's real arm talent. It's real mobility. And I think we're seeing real awareness. That he's learning that as well. And that's not something that goes away. And I think that's the difference between May and a lot of Paul's quarterbacks of the past.
Well,
why mine?
Well, you were big fans of all those quarterbacks like Steve DeBerg and Vinny Testaverde.
Drew Bledsoe.
Drew Bledsoe, yes. Steve DeBerg was a journeyman Jag. But I do think that there's the difference is, yes, you can see the talent, coming out. But you're right. There's guys that have been talented and. They flashed, and then
Jeff George.
Teams sort of got a book on them, and then they sort of level off.
Right.
When you start doing things and you have success doing things, and then they make adjustments to the things that you're doing. What are your adjustments to the adjust? Yeah, absolutely. It's not a finished product by any means. But I just look at the talent, and I'm very excited about that. Mike mentioned. One thing. So I'll play the other side because you look like you're looking for someone to be like a little Debbie Downer. So I'll play my role. I mean, that's what I do. So like I haven't like studied this, but so they're 4-2. The 2 games they lost are the only 2 games that they've trailed by more than a score. Right. So
you're supposed to be playing the other side here,
Paul.
No.
I was intentionally playing Debbie Downer. Right. So. One of the things that I'm still looking to see from Drake May is the ability to lead the team from behind.
Right.
Like, they were down 2 scores to the Raiders, they lost. They were down 2 scores to the Steelers, they lost. They did eventually tie that game, but they lost.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Is that still something? Again, I'm trying to play devil's advocate. I think I'm all in on the Drake May machine, so I'm just trying to play devil's advocate.
I'd lean my devil's advocate would just be more what happens when a team's like, we're not going to let you beat us deep. We're just going to, your light box, you want to run on us, go ahead. And, what does it look like then?
Or, I'll continue. What happens when the other team scores? Like, Evan's talking about all these defensive numbers, but somehow they're only allowing 20 points. It seems like at some point you can't allow all these passing yards and, do all these things in the red zone that are wrong and only allow 20 points. for all of the offensive success the Patriots have had, they generally score like between 20 and 25 points every game without the punt returns and the kick returns. So what happens when the other team scores more than 20, which it would seem, based on the numbers that Evan has with the DVOA stuff and down in the bottom 5 of the league in a lot of categories, it would seem is coming when they play a good offense at some point.
Yeah. I think
Again, that's another
fair.
Debbie Downer
No,
take.
that's,
I'm
I mean,
trying
that's,
to,
I
I'm
think
trying to
that's
be
a
devil's
totally,
advocate.
I think that's
Yeah,
a totally
that's
fair
it.
And
take.
to score points, you need to throw the ball. We know the running game needs to work. In order to go to that next level on offense, to be able to come back from 2 scores late in the game, what is the thing in the passing game that needs to improve?
I don't think there is one.
I don't know.
Really?
I
They're
don't know.
third in the league in EPA. I don't know how much better they could really get.
Passing game's been pretty efficient.
I think that Paul nailed it. Like, there are some trends with the combination of their lack of a running game and their lack of a pass defense that just over the course of a 17-game season that usually catches up to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like when you're really one-dimensional offensively and you can't stop the pass defensively, at some point, like that house of cards comes crumbling down. Now, their schedule is so easy that it might not fully happen. But what might happen is a month from now when they play Tampa Bay, they might lose. And it might not look great because Tampa Bay is a legitimate contending team in the league that has legitimate weapons on offense and an MVP quarterback. And if you play 25th ranked pass defense against Baker Mayfield, he might score 35. Whereas when you play it against Spencer Rattler, he still only gets to 19. So I think that those are the things that I would look at of just where are the possible cracks in the foundation, or can they sustain this offensively without a running game? And are their is this their pass defense? Like, is their pass defense going to be bottom 10 in the league by pretty much every metric?
So you're saying that I'm going back to the offense now, to the passing game, the Patriots passing game. You're saying I don't see anything that down the road another team might be able to take advantage of and thwart what's going on here.
Well, I
think it's
those are two different things.
I think it's the offensive line, like, because if they can't run the ball, if they do get into a game where they're behind schedule a lot, like, does the drop back passing game like we saw in week 1, like, does the offensive line start to give up a lot of pressure? Because right now, when you're on schedule and you're head of the chains, you can dress plays up, you can move the pocket, you can play action, you can double team, and like they're holding it together. But I don't think their line has played exceptionally well. I think that it's a combination of a lot of things. I think that their scheme is really good. I think the line is better. I think Drake May has been great under pressure. Like, so at some point, does that fall? You know?
Well, that was what, like, when you said, what could they do better in the passing game? And Evan answered, I'm not really sure there is anything they could do better. That's one answer to the question. Then you kind of change it to something I think is relevant. The fear would be what happens when they stop playing at an exceptionally high level in the passing game, because it's hard to do that for 17 games.
Yeah.
Right.
Like their efficiency in the passing game is through the roof. And again, what happens when some teams, maybe they do what Mike says and they stop with the single high and they just say, let's just make sure that we start covering these guys and take some stuff away from them.
We're just going to
And
rush 3.
Right.
if they want to run, and if they want to run the
let 'em
ball,
run.
let them run. But
Yeah.
they're not going to let Drake May kill us.
What about production on first and second down? Because they're converting a lot of really,
They have been
great
good.
third down plays.
You're right,
but
Fred.
that's a tough way to live sometimes.
Tough way to live. I mean, I think that's a good way to put a lot of it. It's just, like Tevin's point, when's it going to catch up with you? We'll say this week I thought positive development. If you'd asked me this question last week, well, what happens when they take Diggs out, or Diggs only has a few catches? And, they showed last week that they're willing to go to Booty and that they can find Douglas downfield. Those things I think have to continue, though, because I still think teams are going to continue to key off of Diggs and feel like he's the gotta have it guy. We got to figure out a way in the big moments to take him out.
Does May have his binky? That one that Scarnecchia says every quarterback needs?
I think a
In
little
big
Diggs.
spots, it's Diggs.
We've
We've seen like third and fourth down. it's Diggs.
Yeah.
Even in this game, when he only had 3 catches, one of them was the 4th down.
Yeah.
It was a big play in the second
Hunter
half.
Henry's not far behind him, though. I mean, there's a couple throws that he's made to Hunter Henry that's kind of like, I trust you, buddy. I'm gunning it down there, and I know you're going to come down with it. So, I mean, I think that's a good thing to have. Is
I think he has that with Booty, too.
Yeah.
That, like, just the trust
different.
part of it.
It's the
not as
different
many.
trust.
No, but I'm
right?
talking about like
Yeah.
that.
I think it's Diggs.
I think
to
it's
me,
Diggs,
to
too.
me, the Binky guy is a volume guy. That's kind of my impression of it.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be, I guess, but that's the one. That's where I feel more comfortable.
How many more
I mean,
does
it's-
Diggs have than everybody else?
I mean, they
Yeah,
spread
he's
it
got
around
12
pretty
more
well.
catches than anybody else.
But yeah, I would say Diggs. I mean, like 4th down in the game on
Yeah.
Sunday, where did he go?
So
You know.
are you comfortable with him being the Binky?
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean,
for
the
sure.
volume guy is what he's been the last few
Yeah.
years.
Yeah. The ability to get open quick, and I mean,
I'm
that's
trying to lead you down the road to Efton Chisholm. You won't go there.
Yeah, I will not go there. Nice player.
I didn't see that one coming.
But I do feel good about that. I mean, it's I think last week was just a good step forward in terms of the secondary receivers, and just it has to continue though. Can't just be a one-off. And I'd like to see, like I said yesterday, everybody stay involved. Not now Booty has 5 catches this week, and I'd like to see it spread around just a tiny bit more. But I think they're doing a real. I mean, what else could you say? I don't know.
I know what you're saying. I'm not saying you're wrong. I mean, that's kind of
Yeah.
what we were. It was ingrained in us with Brady because,
Yeah.
like, I've never been a big, 9 different guys caught passes. What I like about this is it's not one guy every week. It seems to be a different guy
That's
most
true.
weeks.
Yeah.
Yep.
So I don't care that one guy catches 7 and the next guy's like 2. That doesn't bother me. But if it was only one guy and then you worry, well, what happens if that one guy's eliminated?
Yeah.
Then you get like 1999 Patriots, where it's all Ben Coates because everybody else is hurt. And then you take Coates out and Drew's got nowhere to go.
Yeah. No,
You
I hear
know,
that.
That's
I
the
hear
most
that.
encouraging thing about the Saints game was like
Right.
Diggs had the huge game in Buffalo, really had a huge game against Carolina too. And New Orleans probably came into this game and said, we got to take out Stephon Diggs. They did kind of. And then Keyshawn Booty goes off. And like the fact that you have other receivers like Pop and Booty that have huge games, like tells you that they
And
can
they've
get
had
open
4
too,
different
and they can
guys.
play too.
Like,
Yeah.
and I know that one of them was a little bit abnormal with Stevenson in Miami, but like Booty has now been the guy twice, and Diggs has been the guy twice, and Henry was the guy in which game? The Carolina game or
Carolina
the
game.
Pittsburgh game? One of those games.
Carolina had 2 touchdowns.
Yeah,
If think of
so I like that aspect. That doesn't have to be the same guy,
Yep.
but I also don't need it to be like 8 guys just for the sake of like Brady was great
Yeah.
at that, but that was Brady. Like
Yeah.
that's the way he did it, and
It wasn't every game, but there were games
No.
where he would hit everybody. And then some games it was just, Welker and Gronk or Edelman and Gronk,
Yeah, the other thing I was going to say about May that I love, and you brought up guys like Hoyer, guys that go on a little bit of a bender. Like May always going to be able to run, and just that's such an element that defenses have to think about every week when they face him now. And it's not just about, well, we got to take the pass, we got to take the deep pass away, we got to take Diggs away. It's like even when you take that stuff away, he still can run. He can still get out of the pocket. He can still make throws. He can make runs, and that. That travels, I guess how I would put it. It's always going to be an element there that defenses have to deal with.
Evan, when do we start incorporating more of the option runs with Drake?
Yeah.
If at all.
We talked about that a little bit on Catch 22 because we were talking about the run game and like, could you be a little bit more creative in the way that they're running the football? I just wondered, one, I think we're slowly learning that maybe he's more of like a scrambling quarterback than he is like
I agree with that.
Lamar Jackson design run quarterback. Because some of the times where he's done some of it, like the meshes and like getting guys the reads and the bite, like it hasn't really looked great.
Is that because they don't do it enough?
It could be, but it hasn't really looked particularly great. Even the play in Buffalo that he makes the throw to Diggs falling down, like that's counter bash, and he like the play gets blown up, like the play should not have worked, right? So it just there's that element of it. I think that could have come out, like, let's say, last week they get stuffed on the goal to go situation. Like, do you throw in like a zone read in there instead of just trying to like smash into the line of scrimmage and punch the ball in? Like, instead on first down, is he in the shotgun and is it zone read? And if the end bites, he can just kind of waltz into the end zone, on a zone read, like maybe. We talked a little bit about, maybe incorporating some more jet motions or like things to get out on the perimeter because they're having trouble running the ball through the middle of the field. So there's some things that they could maybe do schematically to help out the running game a little bit, I suppose.
I hope they don't start incorporating those end arounds though with the wide receivers and stuff. Those don't seem to work for us.
Yeah,
They work for other teams.
Yeah,
but
maybe
they
I
don't
think a
seem
lot
to
of
work for us.
I'm more of a jet motion guy than an end around guy.
Yeah.
But a lot of that's window dressing to set up other things off of those motions. So like if you show them the motion, then they have to start respecting the motion, and now all of a sudden it's a fake off of the motion, and then it kind of opens receivers up down the field that way. But I hear you. The end arounds to me take a little bit too long in the NFL. Like that's more of a college thing, but when it's just jet, when it's just right behind the quarterback and you just hand it off.
Yeah, and Fred's right. They've tried. There's 2 wide receivers who've gotten carries, and neither one of them was productive. One for 4 yards for Demario Douglas, and one for -2 for Kyle Williams.
Yeah, the -2 one.
And I'm going back to last year too. In
the
the
Jalen Polk
previous,
special.
yeah.
Yeah. Now they have had, I think, like Summer Henderson's kind of off of what Evan's talking about, some jet action and whatnot. But yeah, it hasn't been great. And I heard a lot of people talking. I think you and Alex were talking about creativity with the running game. Maybe that might be one way to get Henderson out of this sort of pattern where he's sort of seeking contact, right? If you get him on the off tackle outside the edges, maybe you can get a little bit more space for him. I don't know what the answer is.
So
but-
one last thing on the offense going forward that I was thinking about on my long drive to work every day, Marcus Jones. So we've been told that his time will come, someday, eventually you'll see him on offense. But in order for him to be successful when he is on the field, like, do you have to like show him out there a little bit more so that like the one time that he's out there, everyone knows, oh, he's out there. We gotta take him away.
Yeah.
You have to use him a little bit more and not even give him the ball, but just show him out there in order for him to eventually be successful.
I think so a little bit. I think it's like the Matthew Slater thing. Every time Matthew Slater was out on wide receiver, like, all right, they're going to
block.
Or they're going to take a shot to him. Same with Kyle Williams, like how they've used him, where early on they were taking shots
Take
to
out
him.
the nickel.
Right.
But yeah, I think so. I wonder, and I love Marcus Jones, and I think he might bring an element. But like, how much is the juice worth the squeeze with him? Like, is he going to give you that much of a boost on offense? That I know he's good in specific plays, but like you got to hit it. I love how he's been playing at cornerback. I think he's really valuable there, and I think he's super valuable as a punt returner. And yes, he would be an element for the offense, but I don't know if I'm willing to put that on his plate.
Okay, fair
and
enough.
Risk getting him injured, and can we just do the same play to Pop Douglas? Is it that much better? Like, I don't know. I mean, it is better, but
you do like to
is it
hope
worth
that
it?
they've kind of evolved past like we need Marcus Jones gadget plays
Yeah,
to like
right.
move the ball. But
yeah.
The one thing that they haven't done a whole lot of, and Josh is notorious for trick plays, and they haven't called a ton of trick plays yet. And that is probably like
They tried one flea flicker.
I was going to say
in Miami,
they've
right?
tried a couple, but they
Yeah.
just haven't looked right.
Well,
I think
we
they
can
tried a
debate,
flea flicker.
we can debate about flea flickers.
They did a
but
flea flicker against Buffalo, I think.
Yeah.
That got blown up.
That
think
might be the one I'm
that's,
thinking of. Yeah.
That might be like graduate level of the Josh McDaniels offense. Like right now, they might be saying, "Hey, let's just like execute the normal stuff and see how that looks, and then we'll graduate to that." But Josh McDaniels is a notorious trick play artist, like double
pass.
passes, having receivers throw passes, flea flickers, double reverses, like all of that kind of stuff is. He's always done some stuff like that. And even with Brady, like even when they were like peak Brady offenses, did a lot of trick plays. So
Will an offensive lineman catch a touchdown this year?
well, they've been using Vidarian Lowe as the tackle eligible, and I keep thinking to myself, maybe
He
this is
deserves the touchdown. He deserves the
the day.
touchdown.
Why does
Poor
he
guy.
deserve it?
Oh, he's just the most maligned person. And like, I know he had a tough year and he's not
He'll
great.
push you off
but
on the one
it just-
try.
He's become a punchline, and I just like to see sometimes when punchline guys get an opportunity to do something good.
All right. That's all I got. We can turn it over to the listeners unless there's something else you want to put on the table.
I mean, do you want to talk about the Titans at all? Because I mean, last
Oh,
week I feel
yeah.
like we
Really?
came
Oh,
in and we
yeah.
were like,
I don't know if you know,
we're
but
like,
they
let
made
me
it-
tell
they
you
made a
why they're
coaching
scrappy.
change.
Okay. No. I'm glad you brought that up
Oh.
because on one of Paul's shows, it's a TV show last night.
Yeah,
They were
TV shows
talking
too,
about
Paul?
the interim head coach bump.
Yeah.
And
I have numbers for you if
think
you'd
four
like.
out
Yeah,
of-
that's
4
great.
out of the 5 or 3 out of the 4 people on the panel said they're buying into, yes, the Titans will get a bump. Not saying that they'll win the game because of it, but they'll play better because of the interim head coach. Are
The numbers would back that up.
Yeah, I think you do get a bump, and I think it's real, but I don't think this will matter. But yeah,
That's how I gotta feel too. I don't know. I mean, Mike McCoy is going to be the interim coach, and I read something today saying that maybe he'll kind of let Cam Ward loose a little bit. Which, I mean, a rookie quarterback, that can be a good thing or a bad thing. But I don't know. I looked at the Raiders, and you have like Antonio Pierce who's sitting there, who's like a player, and it's so easy for players to be like, let's rally around a former player, and we're gonna smoke cigars, and he kind of like let the inmates run the asylum. It felt like a little bit, and so I don't know if I see that like with Mike McCoy, who's a little bit of an older guy and has been around a little. I don't know. I don't know what the dynamics are like in that locker room for that team to rally around him, but they've been really bad. They haven't done a lot really well, and it's hard to suddenly, now we got a new coach and everything's going to be okay. It's a little bit of a stretch for me, because even like, just sticking with the Raiders example, if they had talent, like they had Max Crosby, they had, guys
Devontae
that were
Adams.
good. Yeah. I mean,
Josh
Devontae Adams. So Josh Jacobs too. So I don't see the talent right there right now with Tennessee.
But those are the trends, right? Like if you're trying to find a way for this game to be competitive, it's the interim head coach bump and it's 3 straight road games. Like other than that, like on paper, this is not a matchup that you can see the Titans winning. But if they do get that bump, now I kind of feel like Vrabel going back to Tennessee kind of washes out the interim bump. Because this game has so much extra motivation for
That's my
like
point.
Jeff
people-
Simmons is looking across the sideline like, we gotta
Like,
still
so,
have
like-
Braves, man.
like normally it's because like there's a fire lit under the team.
Yeah.
Everybody's on notice. Okay, but like now you're getting Vrabel coming back for the first game as a head coach against his old team. It's also like Harold Landry's coming back. Stretch is coming back. Like the whole, like everybody that was with Mike Vrabel in Tennessee is going back there after they got cleaned out, 2 years ago. So like to me, there's plenty of motivation on the Patriots side to be
that
up for this
offsets
game.
it. I think Evan nails it. But I just have some quick numbers that I'll give you, and this is from Sports Insights. Per our Action Labs database, 38 teams have fired their coach during the regular season since 2003.
That's a lot.
Okay.
38.
Those teams have gone
The whole
17 and 21 straight up, and 22 and 16 against the spread in the first game. At 44.7% straight up win rate, might not look great, but those teams had a 100, 256 and 3 record, which is 28%. Prior to the head coaching change. So 44.7% win percentage after only winning 28% is a bump.
Yeah. That's a
So
bump.
that is legitimate. And then the same thing for the against the spread. You go to 22 and 16 against the spread when you were 132 and 221, 37%. So I think Evan nails it. I think that it gets a little offset by the motivation factor with Vrabel and all of his Tennessee guys that are going back there. But I would expect Tennessee to play a little bit better than they would have had they not done
looking
this.
at it the other way with, the other team looking across the field and seeing Vrabel, and it's like, oh, man.
Could have been you.
I
Boo.
remember that game, Paul, when we were playing the Jets and Parcells was the head coach of the Jets, and we lost that game in the Meadowlands. And, the Patriots team was so pissed off after the game, they smashed the soda machine that was in the visiting locker room. It was like it had a glass door, and somebody put their fist through it, and just they wrecked the visiting locker room. And I remember Lawyer Malloy after the game saying, we look across the field and we see, our old coach. We wish we had.
Yeah.
They have, but we wish we had.
I remember that,
Remember
And I think it's kind of similar because I think at the time when Parcells left, there were some veterans on the Patriots team that probably weren't all that disappointed, and then it took a year for them to say,
Yeah.
kind of wish we had him back. Maybe he was better than we thought. And I
Right.
think because it's the same thing in Tennessee. I think that there was some veterans that weren't overly disappointed to see Vrabel go, and they're probably looking at what Vrabel's doing now, saying, we went 4-19 after we fired Vrabel, and now Vrabel's got the Patriots at 4-2. Maybe we miss him a little more than we thought.
Do you think it's a psychological thing for a player that when the head coach is gone, who's been holding the discipline over you or trying to get you, and like when that's kind of removed, and yes, a new guy comes in, but you just feel the sense of you don't really feel responsible anymore. Like you can just kind of cut it loose and play, and whatever happens, it's like, we know that this regime's going to completely change anyway. So if I do go out and make a mistake, what does it matter? I'm just going to go out there, play hard, see what happens.
Yeah, I think there's examples of that working positively and then negatively as well. But yeah, I think sometimes that does happen, and players play looser, play better, but that doesn't always last long.
That's why I think
Well,
the
and I
starts.
think the Raiders
That's
are a
why,
good
that's
example
why they
of
call
that.
it a bump.
Yeah, well, I just wonder, is it like that they're playing looser, or are they playing hyper focused because they're on notice? Like the coach just got fired, so now your job is now also equally as on the line. Like to your point about them coming in and changing regimes, now their GM isn't going to change in Tennessee. They just hired him.
I
So-
think a lot of it has to do
Bronco,
with how the team
Fugazi.
viewed the coach that got fired.
Yeah.
If they really liked the coach that got fired, I think there's an amount of guilt that you feel like, well, he got fired because we suck.
Those are probably the losses.
Yeah, but then if it's a coach the team didn't like, then it works the other way.
Like the Raiders.
Every
Smoking
situation
cigars.
is a little bit unique.
Sorry, Josh.
Well, I continue down the road with Evan because I think it's interesting. An interim coach, like what kind of game plan is he going to install? Yes, I mean, I hear what you're saying. But I'm also wondering, like, is he going to come in and be like, look, these are the things we did well. We're not going to overcomplicate for this for you guys. Like, we're still figuring out how this is all going to work. Let's just do A, B, and C. And, like maybe there's an element of that too in the game plan that just simplifies it for them, that they're like, I'm going to play fast. I'm going to, and I don't know. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
no,
you have to
think
ask a
that's-
player. I'd be interested to
It's
ask a player.
definitely
that went through
fair,
it.
but we always talk about too, like normally when you fire like a disciplinary coach, you hire so they went from Vrabel to a tight pants guy in Bill Callahan or younger Callahan. Brian Callahan. I wanted to bring up Bill Callahan too, which is why it was in my head. But and so sometimes the grass isn't always greener. Like Vrabel is probably a little bit more of a hard ass, maybe a little harder to play for than a guy like Brian Callahan. But then Brian Callahan comes in and he doesn't have his crap together, and they're 4-19 in 2 years. But him, and his father both leaving
It's significant.
is significant.
Yeah.
Like that's like it's Stoutland, it's Callahan, it's Scarnecchia in terms of offensive line coaches in the history of the league. Like those guys are held in extremely high regard. So that's his father, Bill Callahan, was their offensive line coach. He resigned because his son got fired. So now they have not only a new head coach who is running their offense, by the way, but they also have a new offensive line coach this week too, or an assistant that's getting promoted to head offensive line coach. So that is not an insignificant thing
It's
either.
got to be deflating just to have, one of the greatest offensive line coaches of all time. And and we're losing him too.
Yeah.
And now this week, like today, they get ready. That guy's not in the room anymore. Imagine that's a blow.
So aside from the things the Patriots would do bad to lose this game, what can Tennessee do well? What do we have to worry about? How can they win this game because of things they're doing?
Jeffrey Simmons.
Jeffrey
Simmons is the best defensive tackle in football.
Yeah.
Or he's playing like it right this year. So he's first in the league in pressures, first in the league in win rate. Like he's just having a phenomenal season. So he's a game record that could single-handedly kind of take over stretches of the game if you let him. So, but like you look at the offense, I mean, like Tony Pollard's fine, and if they can still run block without Callahan, then they could kind of run the ball. But that's really it.
We talked about those stats defensively for the Patriots that Evan talked about. Offensively for the Titans, they're like between 30 and 32 in a number of categories.
Yeah.
It's amazing just how they haven't done anything well offensively. But you ask, what could they do? And all of a sudden, you have an outlier game on your hand. I'm forgetting about the turnovers. 'Cause obviously, you turn the ball over. You do what Arizona did. You're going to give them an opportunity.
I don't want to talk about what the Patriots could do bad.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, protect Cam Ward, and then all of a sudden, Cam Ward has one of those, because we've seen it in like pockets of play where he shows ability.
Yeah.
But it hasn't been anything resembling consistency. He's kind of leaning back. I read, a pretty in-depth piece about the Titans' dysfunction yesterday. And, one of the things that they talked about was how good he's been in terms of his preparation, his commitment, a guy they really feel excited about building around.
Mm-hmm.
But still a young guy, falling on some bad mechanics at times, leaning back on throws, holding the ball, taking too many sacks.
Tons of sacks.
Right? So he's been sacked 25 times, which I believe is the most in the league.
Correct.
what if the offensive line just has one of these? I know that Bill Callahan is gone, but like, what if they just say, you know what? Like what Evan said earlier, we got one of the best offensive line coaches in the history of the game. Like he had to resign because of us. What if they just turn around and say, you know what? Let's focus. One of the things in the piece that I read yesterday, and it was by Michael Silver, if anyone's interested in reading it from on the Athletic. He had an anecdote from practice the week leading into the Raiders game last week. It was like 10 plays go by, and Jeffrey Simmons just stopped practice to call out the tackle, J.C. Latham, the right tackle, who had just come back from an injury. And he basically said, what you're doing, that's not enough. Like this, you're not getting enough from you. What are you doing? Like calling out his work habits. So like there's a level of dysfunction there.
In front of the whole team.
Yeah. And this is a respected, like Evan said, maybe the best defensive tackle in football is calling out a young offensive tackle who supposedly has talent. He's a first-round pick.
Top 10 pick.
And he's in year, 2? And he's getting his practice habits called into question. What if that causes him to look in the mirror and say, I got to focus this week. I got to come with a different attitude. Like, just to answer your questions, what could the Titans do differently?
Yep.
Well, they could show up with a little bit more professionalism and play a brand of NFL football. And if that happens, I say this all the time, the gap between these teams, the good ones and the bad ones, isn't that big in that league. Like, if you allow the other team to play well, like the Saints played well. I think the Saints played really well in that game the other day, and that's why the game was close.
Yep.
I think the Patriots played well,
Yep.
but the Saints played well too, and that's why the game was close. You're not that much better than anyone in that league because it's kind of built that way. It's built for parity.
Yep. And that's why, I know, I'm not going to give away any secrets, but I'm sure we're all expecting the Patriots to win on Sunday, but it's not going to be as easy as people yes, we have to win now 3 road games in a row. Never been done in Patriots history before in the regular season. So that's going to have to happen. You might get this interim coach bump. There's a lot of things that could happen that we have a disappointing game on Sunday. I don't think it will happen, but don't be shocked if it does.
Yeah.
This is the NFL.
But those are the things that need to happen.
I'm sure Bills fans.
It's not like
no, but I'm sure
they have
Bills
a bunch
fans
of players
were shocked
on their
2 weeks
roster
ago.
that are going to terrify us.
Yeah.
This is like
the Calvin Ridley situation, even like the one like truly game-breaking kind
Has
of
a
receiver
hamstring.
that has a hamstring problem.
Yeah.
Like
this is like, the Titans could win this game with the power of friendship. That's like what I'm hearing. Like if they
just believe.
Yeah, if they just like rally
Power of
around
friendship.
if they rally around their interim coach and they come with more professionalism and they play, they play with more energy. Like none of this is like, oh wow, like how are the Patriots going to defend X, Y, and Z? It's like
I totally agree.
It's like if they have this rah game, then yes, the Titans could like pull off
barring
an
your
upset.
whole bad play by the Patriots angle,
Right.
I do not see this game being overly competitive.
Okay.
I think the Patriots right now are really rolling.
Yeah.
But I do not dismiss the possibility that what you're talking about, third straight road game, maybe they just don't have it in this game. Maybe they turn it over twice in the first half, and all of a sudden, you haven't done these things for the last couple of weeks,
Is this
but you
more
do
of a
it this
trap
week.
game than last week? If last week was a trap game at all?
I'm going to say no. Just because I just don't think they have the
I
talent.
don't think that they're there yet, and I also don't see the team. Like, to me, a trap game is like you're coming off Buffalo and you're looking ahead to Baltimore.
Yeah.
But like you're looking ahead to Cleveland.
Right.
Like, I don't know.
There's just,
The
and
power of
Evan
friendship.
said it, it's not just Vrabel and Harold Landry. There's a number of coaches that are going to be extremely locked in this week. And I think that message will distribute throughout the whole team, and you'll get a team coming to play for the coaches this week.
All right. 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcast@patriots.com is the email. That's how you get involved. Everything's stacked up. Emails coming in. I want to just take a second to thank everyone for listening, for watching. I just love it. The engagement, the enthusiasm. I mean, why not?
the reason why we do what we do.
It's Wednesday at noon, and you probably have to work or do other things, but here you are listening to us. I appreciate that. So let's get to the phones. We'll go to Francisco in North Carolina. Hey, Francisco.
Hey guys, how y'all doing?
Good.
Hey.
All right. So first, I want to say, Evan, sorry for the bad connection at the end of catch 22.
All good.
And then to go on is you say you appreciate us for we're at work and I'm at work, but you don't know how much listening to this podcast helps me get through work and just makes work go by. But my question is, so with the Bills losing and us jumping in the first for the AFC East, do you think there's more? I don't know if the right word is urgency or I guess likelihood that will make a splash play. And then the second part is, if we do, is the way the receivers been playing, is that leading to a decrease in likelihood that splash play would be or splash trade would be a receiver? Thank you, guys.
All right. Thanks, Francisco. Back to work.
I do think there's an element of, are we ahead of schedule? And maybe looking around at the AFC and the division, and it's like, why can't we be the Washington Commanders of this year, right? And so I do think that exists. Now, that's a slippery slope, because if you get too aggressive at the deadline and kind of give away a big asset and it doesn't work out, not to cross sports, but like this happens with the Bruins 2 years ago, where they went all in on a season and they lose in the first round.
So do we all agree that if you do make a move at the deadline or before, it's not for a rental, it's for someone who would be part of the team at least for next year as well?
I don't know.
I've kind of evolved my thinking on this right now ever since. It's ever since Drake's been balling. I just want to give him everything you possibly can. And had this been, felt like, we're still a couple years away, I might have said that.
Let's say you're giving up a third-round pick for this person. Well, is that worth a rental?
Yeah, but
I mean, if you got a shot at the division and you really
I know
think
what
you can make some noise,
I mean, I find it hard to believe that you would do that, that it'll be a rental for that high of a price.
Okay.
But would we all be in agreement that we expect them to be active at the deadline? And
they said they always are.
Some of the reporting is that this could be like an MLB style trade deadline where there's going to be a lot of.
And I heard Shefty, there were 18 trades last year. I think there were 14 the year before and 18 the year before that. So the trade deadline has sort of
picked up,
not how it used to be.
Sneakily become a little bit more relevant in football. I think the move back helped that a little bit. It used to be after week 6, which I think was too early. Now I think it's after week 9 or something like that. I don't know.
And it's the end of the month.
It's more of the middle of the season, which I think is a good move by the league. I would be surprised if they're not active, they don't make a move. And I got to think you add a running back.
Yeah, right. That's the obvious one. But then also, what do the injuries look like over the next couple of weeks? Because we've said it all along, their depth isn't great. I think they're pretty good top-line guys, but if there is another injury, I'd put that atop the list as well.
That's another one that can affect your mindset. We don't want to talk about it, so I'm not going to mention any specific names, but if you had a couple of injuries and they were important ones, maybe instead of being super aggressive at the deadline, you're maybe we
pull back
can't.
a little bit.
Right.
It's November 4th, so after the Falcons game.
Yeah.
Okay.
So coming up.
Let's see what Randy in Providence has to say. Randy.
Hey, good afternoon, guys.
Hey.
So I got a couple ideas for trade targets, and then I had a question about the offensive line. So just quick names, I guess. Amani Hooker, the safety in Tennessee, had his best year, I think, under Vrabel. Decent coverage guy, 27 years old. Tariq Woolen, still pretty young, 6'4", defensive back, Seattle. Struggled this year, but I'm thinking maybe covering big slots and tight ends. Ethan Pocic, I think his name is, 6'6", 320-pound center in Cleveland. 6,000 career snaps, only 20 penalties. And then those are the trade targets. And then so the question about the offensive line, I saw a tweet from Doug Kayed that said the Patriots offensive line was ranked 4th by PFF. And so I was looking at the PFF stuff, and they've only got the offensive line giving up 2 sacks total that I could see. And I mean, he's been sacked May has been sacked 18 times. I'm not sure who gave up the other 16 according to PFF.
Drake May, evidently.
Yeah, I mean, Chris Long came out today on social and said no more PFF grades. He said
I've heard a lot of comments like that from players, specifically former players, current players.
We've been saying it for years on this.
I heard two guys bickering about next gen in PFF in some clip that I heard on one of my shows on Monday. I just think it's funny. It's like nerd on nerd crime. I'm here for it.
You gotta be careful with the grades. The grades are
numbers.
The grades are, take it or leave it. Their system, like you got to be careful with the.
It doesn't matter what their system is unless they actually know what every player is supposed to be doing on every play.
But yes and no. Like Mike Vrabel doesn't know what all the Titans are supposed to be doing on every single play. He doesn't have the playbook. He doesn't know the scheme. Like he doesn't know, but they still evaluate the players. It just. I would put.
He probably knows better than the people doing it for PFF.
Of course, but like all the NFL teams are doing the same thing. Like in free agency, like there's not like the Patriots knew exactly the scheme that Milton Williams was running and exactly his assignment on every single play, but they still have a grade on the player and an evaluation on the player. Now the grades are like, I don't really touch the grades too often. I don't really feel the need to, but most of their tracking data is pretty solid. Now, in terms of the offensive line with the pass protection, a lot of their sacks have been on backs, tight ends, and then Drake himself running into pressure. I don't know if it's 16 of the 18,
right?
But a lot that is definitely true. Like we've talked about it.
I also would say that there have been countless times that there's been very quick pressure coming by a lineman, and Drake has avoided it. Mm-hmm. I think of the Buffalo game specifically. And the Patriots offensive line is vastly improved from last year. Let's just sort of all agree on that. Yep. And, is it better than the Eagles now or the Lions? Like, I'm not willing to say that, but I mean, evidently there's some sites out there that are. Have fun with it. I think they've worked really hard to go from one of the worst in football to now it's not really a huge issue.
Now it's a serviceable
it's sort of a middle of the pack group in my mind's eye, which I think is a huge step forward. Now get better. Continue to get better.
Some of the pass protection metrics, like they're like top 5 in the league in some of them, and I'm like, I'm better.
Watching every week, and I just don't see that.
Yeah. So I agree with you there. To the trade targets, I would love Amani Hooker, but he just signed a contract extension with the Titans last offseason, and I just don't see them trading him. He would be a great addition, but I don't see that happen. Pochich is like kind of like a journeyman center / guard that's played a lot of football, and to the caller's point, but that's not. I don't think that he's like a needle moving addition by any means. Hooker would be a great addition, but I don't think Tennessee is going to deal with him.
I had a guy today. I think I brought up Trey Hendrickson yesterday as an edge rusher that, who knows. What?
You're making him excited.
I mean,
no,
that's a splash.
Speak my language.
Someone said something about potential guys that could be available. Arden Key is an edge rusher that you will see on Sunday. Titans obviously are going to be in sell mode for anybody. He's not Trey Hendrickson. That's not the same caliber guy, but he's a veteran guy who's had some production in the league, could give you some depth behind Landry and Chasen. I wouldn't. I don't think that would break the bank too in terms of.
I just like the idea because I think that's a position. I mean, when Harold Landry got hurt last week for a second, I was like, oh boy, this would be huge.
Oh, when it looked initially it looked like that was a serious injury.
Got lucky.
He came back. He tore his ACL but I guess it was 21. He missed the 22 season. So he's had issues, but you just haven't really seen anything. I mean, White and Jennings have both been hurt, so you don't have any real depth right now. I don't know how much did what's his face, the rookie, even play last week. I mean, they're just kind of going by with those two, and that's a tough way to live at a really important position. Because remember in 2014,
to Chazon's credit,
he
had a great game.
Yeah, he had a lot of pressures. See, that's another example of what I'm talking about. I don't think he even had a sack. Yeah. But I thought he had good pressure, and one of the pressures led to a holding call that wiped out a big play for them that would have been inside the 5 on a third down, led to a red zone stop. So yeah,
I feel like Chase Young's just living his best life, where they're like, just go get the quarterback, bro. That's all you got to do. Like, just go get him. Like, he's just off the ball every single snap, getting after it. But
I thought that was one of his better games, though, because I haven't really noticed him as much as I did in this game.
yeah, it
Well,
felt like a little bit like the summer when he was torturing
mini
Will.
homecoming for him going back to
Sure.
Louisiana.
Anthony's in Seattle. Hey, Anthony.
Hey, what's up, fellas? How you guys doing?
Good.
Hey.
Good. Hey, so I know I called yesterday. It was all, sunshine and rainbows, but I chose not to comment on the officiating. I was going to do that today. But you know what, just being on hold and listening to you guys talk, you kind of turn the page. I don't want to ruin it, so I will digress, but I do think it's telling just, how egregious it was, that it's not even a situation of, the officials cost us the game. We won the game and we're still pissed. I think that's really
Patriot
telling.
football 101.
Yeah, but anyway, I digress.
Every game.
But I had a question. This might be an Evan thing, but you guys were talking a little bit about the defense and how they play one way against Buffalo and they play a different way against the Saints. And I remember going back to the beginning of the season, they were kind of keeping a lid on it about the type of defense they're going to play, and you guys kind of felt like they were going to be kind of their own thing. Have you guys seen that? Are they are they really multiple? Are they a little bit different defense than like the rest, any like conventional or like style of defenses that you've seen around the league? And I mean, if so, wouldn't you agree that that's kind of a good thing if like, let's say, because they're going to play some important games right down in late in the season and possibly playoffs, and when postseason, that's when game planning is like at its very, very best across the league. And I think it makes it tough if you don't really declare and they can't say, well, this team they play this kind of defense where you can kind of do a lot of things. That's all I got. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, I think they have done a lot, and I don't know if that's a positive or a negative. I think sometimes they've done a lot, and I can go the other way too. But they've done things very differently than what we're used to seeing around here. Like with Belichick, they stop the run differently, they pressure differently, they come off the ball differently. So they are a very different scheme than what we're used to seeing around here. So that's been fun. It's been fun to kind of learn it. It's been fun to watch them play it. And I would just add that, like last week, like the game plans have not been particularly great. I think they've adjusted and they've settled down really well defensively. But first play of the game, you send a corner blitz and you give up a 53-yard bomb. I wouldn't say that that's really like, good prep,
Yeah.
So I think that they could do better in that regard for sure. They need to start better on defense.
We talked about the safety positions really being a lot different than how they used to use it, although there's still a lot on those safety players' position. But I think there are elements of the Belichickian game plan defense of spinning between going zone and man, and they've definitely been a heavy man team as far as the league, but not afraid to, against Miami, just play a ton of zone. So I think some of those things it reminds me a little, and Evan pointed out some really good differences, but just the ability, like, I was just about to bring up 2014 when, Chandler Jones and Rob Ninkovich played almost every snap the whole season long. Like, those were your two defensive ends. They could drop, they could go, and they didn't really have to change their packages a lot. And that's, like, one thing I kind of like about this defense is, like, they're not getting crazy with joint substitutions. It's really, Spillane's out there every snap. You'll have a rotation for the defensive line guys, but they really have their core group of guys that they essentially run out there. So I do think there are elements, but Evan's right with a lot of the scheme stuff. It's been really fun for me to watch just a totally different approach where, we talked last week, we were there talking to Scott Booker, the safeties coach, and, Evan's asking him about setting the edge and how different it is than what Belichick's defense asked. And, so I think it's an adjustment, too, for people like me who are trying to watch and analyze, like, all right, did Chase just blow the edge right there, or was that by design? And they're okay with that because he's going to get in there and disrupt the play. So it's very different philosophy, but there are game plans.
Michael's in Michigan. What's up, Michael?
Hey, guys. How's it going?
Good.
Hello, Michael.
I'm not a guy to get ahead of myself too much, but you guys really got me hyped up in the beginning of the show.
Nice.
So I'm looking at the schedule. I'm looking at maybe even hosting a playoff game or something like that. But just getting to the playoffs is the first step. I'm thinking defense, trade options on defense. If we can get a difference maker, I'd say edge, cover guy, maybe a guy like Kayvon Thibodeau from New York. You get another edge guy in there with Landry. That really helps the coverage guys and all that. So what do you guys think about that? I know you guys talked about Arden Key. Hendrickson would be a great option, but maybe a guy like Thibodeau. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks, Mike. Listen, and
I mean-
whenever you can get to the quarterback, it's good. But the pressure rate has been good. It's the coverage, right? Don't you want to?
Yeah, the pressure's been better than the coverage.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
I hear like the edge concerns. I just wonder if maybe that's like a draft pick coming in 2026.
Yeah.
Like I could see them using a first round pick on an edge rusher.
Yep.
But like linebacker and safety, if you really wanted to like look at the three weakest positions on the roster, it's running back, linebacker, and safety. So if you're trying to add a player to this team this year to like make the biggest difference, it's probably at one of those three positions. That's like going to move the needle in season.
Yeah, and I didn't want to say to Paul's point of finding like a guy like that who doesn't have to be Trey Hendrickson and come in and start like because I think they have two pretty good, but you need some depth.
No, I do agree. If you're going to rank the priorities, I agree with Evan.
Me too.
But I just look at how close it looked like you were going to lose Landry for significant time. And now what?
Yeah.
Now you literally there's nothing there.
No, you literally had to like change the scheme you're running right
cover
now.
guy, I mean, absolutely. Linebackers, same kind of deal. You lose Spillane, who's filling that role?
Yeah.
Right.
Where's Kevin Byard these days? He's still in Chicago?
Probably.
Probably.
Roger McCreary was another name. Like everybody's looking at the Titans because they're,
he
you
plays
know, obviously
he plays the nickel.
You know, and everybody's looking at these kinds of guys being available. I bring up Key because like Kayvon Thibodeau. First of all, I don't think there's any way the Giants. I mean, I think the Giants are building their defense around those three edge guys.
I think they got something going.
Yeah. But I would absolutely take Thibodeau. I think he's a really talented edge rusher. But to Evan's point, you want to use a first-round pick in the draft next year, or that's what it's going to cost you to get him, like a high draft pick.
I just wonder, like, if you, and again, like, I say the same thing about, like, A.J. Brown. If that guy wants to come here and he's available, like, I'm not saying I wouldn't take Trey Hendrickson or whatever, but, like, now, like, you have two pretty good edge rushers in Chazon and Landry. And now, if you trade, like, you have to take one of those guys off the field, right? And so, like, but if you trade for a linebacker or safety or a running back, like you're kind of demoting a guy that's probably not playing particularly well at one of those positions to make room for him. I think the same thing is true at wide receiver. Like if you go trade for like a like a Chris Olave, right? Like who's like a good player but not great player. Like now Keyshawn Bootie's role is gone, right? So like where does that make the most sense? Like obviously you take the talent, but if it's all equal, like where does it make the most sense to add the talent right now? Not next off season, but in
you just
season.
hope if you get a guy like AJ Brown that Keyshawn Booty or the receivers that are going to get a little less playing time might be the ones.
Right.
AJ Brown.
Right.
Yeah.
Kendall in North Carolina. One more call and then we'll take a break. Kendall.
Hey, what's going on?
Hey.
Yeah, I wanted to ask Evan, well, any of y'all can answer about the game that Drake had last year in Tennessee. I know he had 2 interceptions. Do you have any? And I'll take this off air. Do you have any reason for the first interception? I know the last one was he tried to force it to Booty in overtime.
Yeah.
But what did the Titans do that game to kind of get me off his spot a little bit?
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm gonna write about this in game plan, like the preview that I write about the game, and I have a whole breakdown of the game last year because to Fred's questions earlier, like like Denard Wilson's defense gave him a little problems last year. He actually had turned the ball over 3 times because he was strip sacked as well. So 3 turnovers, 4 turnover-worthy plays, handful of sacks in that game.
I remember he had a really good day running the ball.
Yep, had 8 carries for 95 yards on the ground.
Still trapped, Mike.
But he had a couple big-time throws, and obviously the play that got it into overtime was insane. But overall, he did not play particularly well. They spun the dial on him quite a bit. Like the first interception was, changing the picture, start too high, rotate into 3, and then the linebackers dropping out and all this type of stuff. And so they spun the dial on him pretty good last year, and he's grown a lot in that area. But that's I assume they'll probably do the same thing. But I'll have it. With clips and stuff like that.
All right, time to eat. It's a tradition, and football fans know that traditions matter, turning moments together into truly something epic. They're what inspire us to make our masa and Tostitos the traditional way, starting with whole corn kernels, no artificial flavors, colors, or preservatives, all to give you that perfect crunch. Discover your next tradition this football season. Head to the store, grab your Tostitos team bag, and scan the code for a chance to score an epic experience with the Patriots. Tostitos, tradition matters. All right, we'll be right back. Whether you're in the game or betting on the game, you'll need a game plan. DraftKings Sportsbook, the official sports betting partner of the New England Patriots, provides you with everything you need to build your personal betting game plan so you can get in on all the action while practicing safe bets. Visit DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming to learn more about all the safe betting tools DraftKings has to offer. Hope is here, 800-327-5050 or gamblinghelplinema.org. Must be 21 plus. Play it smart from the start. GameSenseMA.com. Physically present in Massachusetts. See DraftKings.com/responsible-gaming for details and state-specific responsible gambling resources.
Isn't it time to get exactly what you want? Welcome to Red Hot Deal Days from Verizon, where you get your pick of our best deals. Like My Plan, where you can pick the perks you want and save on every one. For limited time, bring your own phones to a Verizon store and you can get My Plan for our best price ever. Get exactly what you want in your phone plan and only pay for what you need. Bring your phones to your Verizon store today and get My Plan. These deals won't last. It's your Verizon.
With FedEx One Rate, you can ship to your student for a simple, predictable flat rate. Send a box full of home-baked treats that say, "Your father and I miss you." Or send a box full of instant noodles that says, "Your father and I would like you to stop asking us for money." Either way, one rate fits all. FedEx One Rate. 2-day shipping, one flat rate. Starting at $14.50. Visit FedEx.com/OneRate for details. Exclusions apply.
If you're gonna play the game, boy, you gotta learn to play it right.
DraftKings is all about responsible gaming. It's more fun when it's for fun. So play responsibly. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 plus. Age and eligibility varies by jurisdiction.
What's going on? How are we doing?
How are you?
Good.
How'd it feel to get your first game action?
It felt great, just get out there, get things rolling. So anything I can do to help the team it's pretty special, though.
You've been out there in so many games working out, knowing that you're not maybe going to be active, and then you get out for a game like yesterday, you're up. What's your mindset like in those pre-game hours before that moment takes place?
Yeah, I think that's kind of why I like to go out there early, even when I'm maybe not going to be suiting up. It's just like to get my mind right, to prepare like I'm going to play. So then, like when tomorrow, or when the day comes like it was yesterday, I know that I'm prepared and I know that I'm ready to go, and that continues to stick with the process I've been doing.
How much kick return experience did you have before yesterday, and when did you find out that you were going to be getting those duties?
Yeah, did it a little bit early on in the week. Definitely did a little bit of reps in college. My first couple years in high school did it too, so it wasn't something totally new to me. I've done it before, and then kind of just go out there and be a ball player. It's all football at the end of the day. Just make sure you make good decisions back there, and then try to get the ball back to the offense.
Captain, when did it hit you on Sunday that you're about to play an NFL game?
Probably when we walked in. I think, walking in, then kind of just seeing the whole environment and everything, it was pretty surreal. I feel like the preseason was awesome, to get those reps and to get my mind right that way. But then, just to kind of get that opportunity to go out there and help the team any way I can was pretty special.
You might have answered this, but when exactly did you find out and who told you?
I had an idea during the week, but for me, it was kind of just like, I'm going to keep chipping away. And then Friday, I really found out. But it was really just trying to prepare like I was going to be a starter every week. That's kind of how I go about it.
How much did you hear from folks back home? It was an early game for them.
Early game. So my mom was actually already planning on coming, so my dad didn't make it just because it was such a late notice, I told him. But it was awesome. They all were at the house watching the game. My dad and all his buddies, my family, friends, all at the house. So it was pretty special.
Is there anything you didn't expect in the new kickoff format that they have in the NFL? Anything kind of catch you off guard?
I think with first getting into the NFL in the preseason, learning about it, it's all the different rules, and if it lands in the end zone, you get the ball up towards 35, stuff like that. That's all different. You got to learn those along the way. But nothing totally that sticks out that is totally challenging and totally different. So, yeah.
Was the first one a little tricky because they kind of hit a little bit of a liner over
it was a little tricky. It was I feel like, I don't know, he kind of hit a little dirty ball, it was a little sideways spin on it, and then we're getting close to the end zone too. So, trying to make sure you make that good decision when you're back there too, so just kind of know if I know it's going to go in the end zone, letting it go in the end zone, take a knee.
Did you deal it coming off the goalpost just because?
I was like, a couple weeks ago, someone did. It was the Steelers, I think. The rookie back there let it bounce. Obviously, I know that mine went out of bounds, but he didn't need it, and then the Seahawks went down there and tried to get it. So, just trying to do everything.
What are the rules that you employ there? You got a split-second decision to make. That kick, as you said, was kind of
Yeah, we do a good.
unorthodox kick.
Yeah, we do a good job during the week, just watching film, learning what the kicker's going to do, where they like to kick it, where to line up at. So, Coach Springer did a great job helping me prepare this week to line me up in a good spot to make the best decisions possible out there.
How much has Coach Springer helped you just confidence-wise?
Oh, it's been awesome. I think, especially early on in the week when I found out I was going to start to become doing this as a new role, totally just meeting with him after practice, seeing what do you think here, and then he's giving me extra things to go watch. So on the iPad, watching different teams do different things just to kind of build my confidence in myself, and then he had total belief in me. He told me a bunch of times this week, so it was pretty special.
Evan, what have you been working on these last couple of weeks, and how much do you feel like you've grown?
Yeah, I feel like I've grown every day. I think obviously always working on just my blocking, my route running, my whatever I can each and every day, and then it's such a blessing just to go against some of the best guys in the National Football League every day. Being on a scout team with that, being CD, Marcus Jones, Christian Gonzalez, all those guys out there. Those are invaluable reps that I don't take for granted. That just continue to get better each and every day.
Has it been a challenge at all for you, Efton, to not be as big a contributor offensively as over the course of your life? I'm sure you used to play a lot of offensive football. So how difficult maybe has it been to kind of bide your time?
Yeah, I think every rookie's kind of navigating that, but I think for me, whatever I can do to help the team, and I know that sometimes that's during the week. Maybe it's not on Sundays, but I know I'm helping the team any way I can, and definitely just trying to learn the ways of some of the guys that have done it before and their process, and how it's not all going to happen overnight. So kind of just continue to stick with the process.
How do you balance?
And now, great moments in history.
How would you pronounce my name in Italian?
The way you
my
pronounce
last name.
Perillo. Perillo. Perillo?
Perillo. That's how you should pronounce it in Italian. It's not how I pronounce it, but yet he lets me get away with that, I guess.
Paul Perillo.
Perillo.
Well, you're saying you don't pronounce the L's.
You do. If it was Italian?
Yeah.
No, it would be Perillo.
Perillo.
No.
Yeah.
No, in Spanish you don't pronounce the L's.
That's-
in Italian you do.
They're both Romance languages. And
yes,
you would-
but in
and you would
Italian
do
you
that.
pronounce the two L's. In Spanish you don't. In Spanish it's a Y.
Well, I grew up with a guy named Rocky Del Godillo. Okay?
Yeah.
And that's how he pronounced his name.
Did he say mozzarella too?
Believe me, this guy could not have been any more off the boat.
So, two Italians fighting over the language.
Yeah. I'm not fighting over the language. I'm just asking him about.
He's saying you're wrong.
I'm asking him about his hypocrisy.
Well, North Providence.
It's why one, not the other.
I mean, you don't even know how to pronounce your own name. It's Scalavino.
Yeah, I love when he does this.
It's Scalavino.
No.
That's another great moment from
All right, back here on Patriots Unfiltered, 855-PATS-500 is the hotline. Podcast at patriots.com is the email address. About 1:25 or so, we'll be going live to Mike Vrabel. So pay attention for that. In case you're calling in, we might have to cut you off. But a lot of emails, Paul.
Why don't you read some?
Okay.
Do it.
Joby writes in, he says, really glad to hear the sanity and not getting over-revved up about the recent success. Yes, it's been fun to watch and a source of hope for the future, but all this MVP talk for May is way too early and a distraction. Let's all keep in mind that this is, yes, a rebuild year, and the Patriots may be a bit ahead of schedule. They still need a competent running game, help with the linebackers, especially with tight end coverage and depth, but it's been more fun this year than it has been in the last 6.
Yeah, I don't want this to be the peak. You know, I don't want you to be like,
Right.
oh, we had that,
Why would that come into your mind?
4-day winning streak. And
This
then
guy.
that
Well,
that's
fell
why
This
apart.
guy's emotionally battered.
No, but I hear what he's saying because 2 weeks ago, or in the Bills game, people, this is their signature win. I'm
It
like,
was.
I hope not. I hope the signature win is still to come.
Now, unfortunately, they don't have a schedule that is going to allow for any win bigger than that.
Well,
That's
they
a
could
tough,
get-
that was the
well,
toughest game on their
They
schedule.
can get into the playoffs and
They
play the
got-
Chiefs and beat them. I
Well,
would think that's a
different.
signature win.
That would be another signature
I-
win.
they
You can have more than one.
They can't be more than one.
Oh,
No,
you
I
can
only
only
have one
Patriots didn't win
signature.
6 titles.
Well,
huh?
I think if the division was still on the line and you beat Buffalo at home again for a second time, that might be more signature.
That would be a signature win also,
Or
Mike.
even if, you know,
But it won't be tougher than winning at Buffalo.
If Lamar Latrell is back after that and you go down there and they're maybe
all depends on what their
Baltimore
record
got a
is.
little frisky. I don't know. I'm just look at Jets and Miami to finish the season. It's hard to say that either one of those are going to be a signature win.
I like
but,
that email. One part that I would like, I'm not interested in your distraction nonsense. Like that, like these guys are
Don't
human
distract
beings.
them,
like,
Paul. They gotta work.
That's not like our job is to talk about what's going on, not to distract or not distract. But like the whole MVP thing is legitimate in my opinion. Just my view.
Well,
I
keep
think the
playing
MVP
like this.
They've played 6 games. If you think it's silly to talk about who the leading candidate for the MVP is after 6 games, I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of would agree with you. I think it's a little early to talk about MVPs. But if you're going to assess through 6 games who the best players have been, in some order, it's Drake May, Baker Mayfield, Puka Nacua. Like, I mean, name some other. Those are the guys that have played consistently the best through 6 games. Now, it is early because a lot can change over the next 11 games. But I don't think it's premature to be talking about Drake. Man, we were talking about Jaden Daniels last year. He was a rookie.
And to me, like the MVP, looking at somebody doing it with arguably one of the bottom 3 run games in the whole league, like that says MVP to me. That says,
in my view, he's basically been the entirety of the offense.
Right.
He's put the team on his back the last couple of weeks.
And in Baker Mayfield's like receiver injuries, that 3rd down run he had last week was crazy. So, I mean, you know, it's not, yes, Baker Mayfield has weapons and better around him, but he's still continued to do it.
He does have weapons, but they've been out.
Right.
That's like the whole thing.
Yep.
And you just look at the way that they've won the games at the end. He's come through with these plays when the game's on the line. Like that.
Yeah.
I watched that Monday night game that they won in Houston earlier in the season. It was just amazing that last drive, how many plays he made on his own.
I don't shy away from the MVP talk right now within this moment because I mean I think it's going to be asking a lot for him to continue to play at the level he's been at because like as Evan said, like what else can he do? Like he's
I think it's more fair to say instead, will he be the MVP? But it is fair to say, is he playing at an MVP level? And the answer is yes.
Is he an MVP candidate? To me, is fair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Travis in West Virginia, why isn't a legal shift a dead ball foul? That would make it less annoying. I understand Paul's complaint about the procedural penalties, but I think the players deserve more blame than the refs. Is it really that hard to remember to come set? Also,
no, that's absolutely valid. That's a good email.
Also, when it's your birthday, do you walk around saying, today's my birthday, like Pat Nagawam does? I don't know any grown men who draw attention to their own birthday. I don't.
No.
I would largely agree with any male.
Yeah.
Of like almost any age. Like
No,
that seems to be more something that women, and I'm not trying to be like stereotypical, but like that seems to be something women are interested in birthdays a lot more than men.
I feel like it's something I
Yet they
respect.
don't want us to talk about their age.
No.
So
It's something I respect about you guys. I remember like working here at some point and like somebody was like, yeah, Fred's birthday was yesterday. And I'm like, oh, we didn't even talk.
I've never seen anyone acknowledge
Great.
their birthday less.
No, I know.
than
And
Fred
you too,
Kirsch.
because yours is in June, right? Like,
Yeah, we're the same.
I know, it's like,
We're
no,
like
and it's
3
like,
months
I'm
apart.
I like this.
well,
We got like just
upstairs.
We don't
it's
talk
like
about birthdays.
celebrating birthdays has become this new thing now, and like
Yeah.
you know,
Oh
every
my
day
God.
somebody's walking into my office, say, "Can you sign this card?" I'm like, "We got another one of these." You know, so.
People get.
Well, we have
involved.
one downstairs too.
Yeah, we got one coming around.
Casey's like the VP of birthdays.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's great, which is good because you know everybody knows. But for me,
Excuse to get some cookies and some cake.
Yeah,
I'll have
I'd
a
rather
little-
not be the subject
I'll
of
have a little
birthday.
Diet Pepsi.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Yeah.
I don't know. At a certain age, you're just like, bro,
No more Diet
I
Pepsi?
ain't got no more birthdays to celebrate. These are just ticking away
21.
now.
21 was the last one I celebrated.
I think 30 was like the last like kind of celebration, and then I was like, oh boy.
Jordan writes in, he says he's the most boring Patriots fan in the world.
Oh,
Congratulations.
Well, no, but at least he has a moniker.
Yeah,
like
sure.
he's
Okay.
known for something.
And it's Jordan.
I
We
don't
have to
have any
remember this.
questions.
Yeah.
I just want you to know
I just
I
have one
exist.
take today that has been stuck in my mind. I'm rewatching The Office for the 45th time.
Oh,
Now, this is
and
a
that made
Fred
me think
question.
to myself, who would the PU crew represent best as characters in the show? So here's my take.
Oh, great.
Deuce likes these.
I do.
Fred equals Michael Scott. The one is pretty obvious. He's the boss man. He brings the jokes and wacky takes. Also a major vibes guy who doesn't take himself seriously. Paul is Stanley. Again, pretty obvious choice. He's the grouchy, snarky man who has the side comments in the grunts and strong opinions. Evan is Oscar. Evan plays a similar role in the show to Oscar in the show. The statistical nerd is emblematic of the accounting uppity nerd. Mike is Ryan. Mike reminds me of Ryan the most for his claims of being the defensive guy, even though he rarely knows what he's talking about, similar to how Ryan is always full of it.
Oh, that took a turn.
Mike doesn't like that. Alex is Pam. Easy choice here. Pam is the girl locked in an office surrounded by a bunch of crazy characters and shines through as one of the more level-headed characters. So there you go.
No anti-Pam stance, isn't that?
I know that was Evan's whole thing.
Evan really
hates
was
Pam.
strong on
He's
that.
got
But
a
then
whole
I
rant on
found that, because I was not a huge Office guy. I've seen it, obviously, but I'm not well-versed on The Office.
What was
a
that?
lot of people don't like Pam.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Got that vibe.
Yeah.
People like Jim, though. I mean, good.
Yeah, we have no
Is that what
Jims
you?
here.
Is that what you were looking for? Jim?
Yeah, he wanted.
No, nobody wants. Jim's boring. Jim's boring. I mean,
What
he's
was that?
the straight man, right? You know,
He
I like
kind
the
of
Fred
is.
one though. I think Fred is
the
Michael.
Fred
because
one is
Fred
absolutely
like,
right.
Fred isn't as unself-aware as Michael Scott was. Like he'll like knowing, but he'll knowingly lean into some of that stuff when when the mood's.
Oh, sure.
I don't know which one is Stanley. The one that I was attached to. I don't know. Like I don't know the characters that well.
He's the black guy.
And he's cranky all the time, and he has snarky.
Funny.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. And he's just
Okay.
always getting forced into doing stuff. and
I'm
he's
not.
like,
I'm not doing
I'm
that.
not doing that.
Like, remember when they played basketball downstairs and the way he was dribbling,
and they were making fun of him because he was a black guy that couldn't
was
play
so,
basketball.
That was so funny. Noah in Toronto writes in, here are my 2 ideas for improving the run game. 1, bench Jared Wilson for Ben Brown or trade for a veteran guard on a bad team, Joe Batonio or Kevin Zietler. 2, more RPOs on early downs and more read options on critical short yardage situations.
Yeah, I've heard some of the Brown stuff with Vrabel being there last year. I mean, if the Giants start, middle, I mean, I don't know if they'll continue on this, but Cowden was with the Giants last year. I'm just trying to think of other connections that they have with some other teams that might give them some inside info or some guys that they like. But I get the Cleveland stuff with Vrabel, but because he was with the offensive line too. I don't know. This goes to the point of like, I'd like to lean into the young kids. I'd like to let Jared Wilson make some mistakes and let Will Campbell, make those mistakes. And
I'm not opposed to Ben Brown. Like if
I'm
that's
not either.
if that's a switch that you want to make, I'm not necessarily looking to give up resources to bring in like a Joe Batonio, who was clearly an upgrade, but now that's going to cost you something. And I don't know what his situation with Cleveland is. Like, not every bad team is looking to unload all their good players. Now, some are. I think Tennessee might be one of them because I think they might be just, they have a first-year GM in my boy Mike Bergonzi from Everett.
Mm-hmm.
He might be looking to sort of put his stamp on the roster and figure out who's going to be part of the future and who isn't. So I think that's the Zeitler, Kevin Zeitler. I mean, that might make some sense.
I could have been what was Ed Helms' name in the office? That could have been him. One's always singing. Andy. Yeah, he's always singing. I like to sing. I like music.
Yeah, and we had no Dwights.
No Dwights. We got some Dwights here though. They're not on air.
Oh yeah.
They're in
Uh-oh.
one particular department.
Okay. Let's see. Matt in Wichita. I think maybe the greatest strength of Tom Brady's game was his ability to feel the rush while looking downfield and knowing when to step up or where to step up. Other QBs seem to never figure this out, and their physical traits carry them through their career without ever developing great pocket presence. How does it seem that Drake May has seemed to improve so much in this regard in just a few weeks? The Pittsburgh game, it seemed like he had no idea where the pressure was coming from without looking right at it. Sunday versus the Saints, there were multiple plays where he stepped up at the perfect time and ripped the ball forward with both hands. Maybe there's a bit of luck or positive variance, but The development under a short period of time from Drake this season is unbelievable. I was looking at some of his footworks against the Saints in like close quarters. Like
subtle.
The footwork was flawless.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable.
He's really good at it. The
great
email
email.
is right.
Great email.
And
It's
wasn't
totally
that
right.
like supposed to be his weakness coming into the league?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah,
I
he
remember
drifted a lot.
I mean, I think it was week 1 that there was a breakdown. I think JT O'Sullivan might have done it on week 1, and just same issues from last year with Drake, with drifting into pressure was the buzzword, and that's exactly what stood out to me. Was just, all of a sudden he's like buying himself time. He's subtle shift. I honestly didn't know if it was possible. I didn't know if that's just kind of an innate thing, but for him to progress that, I mean, it's a great email. It's one of the most underrated things.
And just to give you a little peek behind the curtain, we had a little interaction with Evan yesterday with Brian Hoyer, and he wanted to talk about the two hands on the ball thing. It's like, sort of you rip it through. It's like a basketball thing where you kind of rip through with two hands on the ball, strong on the ball. And that's what a lot of quarterbacks like to do in the pocket under pressure, because obviously you want to, ball security is at a premium. And Brian was going through some of the dropbacks.
It was pretty cool. He's like, I could only hear him, but Brian Hoyer's like, like what Tom used to do is like he just go like this, and then you hear like,
he was actually
like some footsteps.
No, he was actually dropping back. He was like a 5-step drop. But Drake is so tall, like sometimes his like 5 to 7-step drop would be like he's way back here, and he's too far back. He'd have to climb back in the pocket, but he's so athletic that he's able to make it work. And Evan's just
like, I got to go change my shorts.
Evan's just looking at him like, Chris Farley looking at Paul McCartney.
Right. This is so cool. He went home and told his wife, today was so great.
Brian Hoyer, who's that? Does he play? No, not anymore.
Well, he used to.
Ethan says, I'm not going to read the whole email, but he says that Breece Hall posted a free 20 on Instagram.
Free 20?
Oh, yeah, free 20.
Free 20.
And he's a guy, it's his last year of his deal, I believe. So he could be available. But, obviously you guys talked about the division part of it, maybe complicating things.
I was thinking the Patriots on the side work out a deal with another team where they give a 3rd-round pick for Breece Hall, and then we turn around just before the deadline, give that team a 2nd-round pick for Breece Hall. So they can say, well, we weren't in collusion. We got a second, so we decided to move him.
We moved quick.
We didn't have a deal ahead of time.
That's interesting, though.
Would you do that? 2nd for Breece Hall?
That's a little high.
Seems a little steep.
He's a good running back. He really is good.
No, he's a good player. Breece Hall's a good player. Yeah, I agree with you, Freddie. And he can catch the ball, too.
Yep.
But I don't know. I think he'd be a rental.
Yeah. But that Braylon Allen's hurt, too, I think. Like, their big back, who I really like coming out, but just he hasn't been able to hold on to the ball.
Okay.
He's on the IR.
Oh, he is.
Yeah.
Cody says Pam is terrible.
Yeah.
I have a
lot
theory
of
about
people
all these
say
guys that don't like Pam. They secretly want her. No?
He's all right. Yeah. My son would say.
Do we know any women in the office that are like the blonde in the office? She was like the real.
Oh, yeah. The cat lady.
Yeah.
Shoot, why am I can't?
No, not the cat. Well, not the
one?
older one. The young. She was blonde, but she's like really mean to everybody.
Her name's Angela.
Angela.
And,
Oh, she was a cat lady?
We used to have a woman work upstairs that was exactly like her.
Oh.
Her name was Nicole. I don't know if you remember her.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. I know who you're talking about.
Lots of trade things. I don't want to get into all that because we were already, talking about it. It's all the same names, Hendrickson and.
Yeah, as long as if there's some new names, I'd be interested. But if they're the same names that we talked about, we're basically interested in any and all of these options.
Like, where aren't we looking? I mean, is it because I hate this stuff? There's like 1,000 NFL players out there, and like, who are they going to trade for? I'm like,
well, and that's the thing. I'm trying to, like I said, I read something before the show today that sort of had some options that could be available. And I'm trying to come up with various players that I think their teams, for whatever reason, could be looking to move on from. As opposed to just all the best teams, all the best players in the league, and the best teams are just going to give them to you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it's like best players on the worst teams you're trying to like.
Back to the phones, 855-PATS-500. And don't forget, any minute now, We're going to be going to Vrabel as soon as he comes up, so I might have to cut you off. But Todd's in North Carolina. What up?
Oh, Todd.
He said, you know what? I'm not even going to bother with the chance of being cut off. I'm just going to cut myself off. Dan is in Daytona. What's up, Dan?
Hey, how's it going, guys? I'll be quick, real quick. So 2 takes. I think, what do you guys think about bringing a guy like who was like Mike McDaniels was before he became a head coach? How he was working with Kyle Shanahan with the run game. I really think that they should bring in somebody who has proof. Not saying that Josh can't do it and Thomas Brown, but they've been focusing primarily on the passing game. So having somebody who's strictly a run game coordinator who can actually come up with good schemes and fits for the players they have to get the offensive linemen looking better than what they actually are. And then the other take is, what do you think the issue is with stopping the pass on the defense? I'm seeing too many issues this season. I just wanted to see your guys' takes.
Okay, thanks, Dan.
I didn't really catch the last part. The run game coordinator, I heard Ted Johnson talking about this yesterday a little bit on Andy's show on EEI. I don't know. They have like 3 offensive line coaches. They have multiple, coaches that are, position coordinator. Like, I don't know. Like, I think we overcomplicate this. They need to run the ball better, right? The line needs to be better. The backs need to do a better job of maximizing yardage and opportunities. I think the run game needs to be better. They should be better than this, right? They're not,
should be.
It's your nightmare on the screen, Paul.
So this.
Okay. So what are we talking about?
This kid has gone like totally viral. I never listened to any of it.
Explain.
Go ahead, Mike.
There's I guess some kind of Patriots podcast or something. He was doing a live blog during Douglas's touchdown last week, and he looks like he's going crazy.
His name is Hogdale.
Yeah.
Hogdale. He's getting some love on
It's
Good Morning
Barstool
Football here.
Sports. Hogdale. I have me. That's not my
You
thing.
don't follow Hogdale?
Right. I don't follow Barstool.
Sounds like somebody in Harry Potter.
And I guess he does like full play-by-plays of like the Red Sox.
I don't think you're
playoff
allowed to
games.
do that. I think Fred could tell you more about it. You're not allowed to do your own live broadcast of the game, are you?
No.
Your thoughts, express written concerns in this game.
Right.
Well,
Anyone caught trying to lie?
Sorry. Adam in Crown Point, Indiana. What an exciting time for all of us. This feels totally different than our last competitive season in 2021. Are you guys in agreement? That was a fun year, but it always seems smoke and mirrors. 2020, that was Mac's first year?
I got to be honest. I was in on that one.
Yeah.
I was in on it.
They were definitely, it was different because I think there were some asterisks with the wins in terms of like personnel that was available for some of the other teams, but the asterisk with this would be you're beating like the dregs of the league with the exception of Buffalo.
Yeah.
So, no. I think May looks a lot better to me than Mac Jones ever looked.
The big difference.
That to me is the difference.
But at that point, like, whereas now you're saying May is naturally talented and he's going to elevate the team, back then you were kind of still believing that Bill Belichick was going to, now he had a full free agency class and he got that 2020 year out of the way. We've reset. Now he's got some real veterans. He's
another
got
great
defense,
point. It was very free agent centric in 21. Well, this is pretty free agent centric too. And sometimes that's a bump that you get and you get a little bit of a lift from, and then it sort of levels off. Again, to me, the difference is Drake May is playing at a level higher than Mac Jones.
In 21, it was almost the exact opposite. Yeah, they were winning games, but it wasn't because of Mac Jones. We were like we've talked about it before. He didn't throw a ball into the end zone until week 6 or something like that. They were micromanaging him. They're letting May play, and whether they're letting him play or May's just taking it on himself when things break down, there's no way that Mac Jones can do what Drake May is doing.
But I'm just talking about the team in general. It kind of feels similar. Like you're better because you brought in better talent than you had last year.
Yeah.
Like we talked about this all offseason. You're going to be better when Harold Landry and Robert Spillane and Carlton Davis and all these guys you brought in
and the coaching.
Stephon Diggs, like you got better.
Yeah. Morgan Moses.
Back then, I guess we're supposed to have had good coaching back then.
Well, you were kind of in the illusion of thinking that you did still. And it was really hard to swallow.
Because Josh was the offensive coordinator.
Yeah, and you still
But I think they really had handcuffs on Mac Jones. Not that he didn't deserve them.
Yeah.
But they didn't have anywhere near the offense they had now. They were scoring points.
Yeah.
But I just you know the feeling we had, Paul.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah.
And then
you know that I was never a believer in that.
And then the second half of the season bore that out.
Oh yeah.
You
No,
know,
after Buffalo.
they went downhill instead of going up.
I'll tell you, that's stupid. Jonathan Taylor looks exactly like he looked in 21 when he just ran all over them. I mean, talk about MVP candidates. I mean, he might be in that conversation as a running back, but he's running the same way he ran all over the Patriots in that game, and it was all of a sudden like the house of cards disintegrating before your eyes.
Phil Finley in Dundee, Scotland writes in, what impressed you most about Drake May's performance? His pocket poise, his deep ball, or the fact that he somehow made Paul say something complimentary before the end of the first quarter?
What? Before the first quarter? What?
In all seriousness, he's just kidding.
Pocket.
To Mike,
like, you can make fun of me for all those other things, but nothing about Drake May. I told you last year I would take Drake May over Jaden Daniels. Yeah.
Don't say anything about Drake May and Paul.
My guy.
Yeah.
I might be wrong. I'm not, unlike everybody else, I'm not taking a victory lap for it based on 6 games.
Yeah.
So I might be wrong.
But you're taking a victory lap for being right a year ago.
No, I'm telling you, I wanted Drake May over Jaden Daniels.
I know.
Last year
That's
when
what I'm
Jaden
saying.
Daniels was an MVP candidate.
I know. You've always liked Drake
A
May.
lot of people would probably still tell you they'll take Jaden Daniels now.
That's
I
right.
wouldn't.
That's right.
But that's why I'm saying I might
know.
be wrong.
You have to be on your show today. There's
I
some
could be wrong.
person on that show that exactly what you're talking about. Big Jim. He likes Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But he likes Drake May now, too, because
He's
he had
coming
a good game against Buffalo.
Yeah.
That was it.
He's coming
I was
around.
all over him last week. I go, you're unreal. All of a sudden, he's the guy now because of one game.
In all seriousness, and to Mike's earlier point, after a few years of dysfunction, it's refreshing to now be able to look forward to watching this offense every Sunday. Who says we're spoiled after a 20-year dynasty? I mean,
Mike.
The hope. It's the hope. It's the hope that if it's 3rd and 8, it's not over.
Yeah.
Like there's a chance they could
I mean,
convert.
And just to boil it down to simplicity, like you're getting to watch a really talented football player every weekend and root for him, and he's doing special things and plays that get you out of your seat. I mean, they're just ever since he came here last year as a rookie, there have been moments you're like, oh my God, did you see that throw? Like, that wasn't ever anything we did watching Mac or Bailey Zappi or Cam Newton. It was just, you can tell how much talent that kid has, and it's going to be fun to be along the ride with him.
Quick trivia question related to the Tennessee game.
Excellent.
During the Brady era, Paul.
Brady era.
The Patriots lost to Tennessee twice in the regular season. The first time Brady played them in 2002, and the last time
Monday
he played
night.
them in 2018.
Correct.
In each game, the Patriots only scored 1 touchdown, and they were rushing touchdowns. Who were the scorers?
How are you?
Let's go to Mike Vrabel.
6 weeks into the season, how affirming is it for you to be in first place in the AFC East heading into Tennessee?
That didn't take long. Well, they're not going to cancel the rest of the season, and that's not really our focus right now. But I would say that we've done, we put ourselves in a position to play meaningful games. Not that they aren't all meaningful, but certainly focusing on this one on the road. Our last one of 3 here. But and I appreciate us not looking too far ahead. They just attacked Buffalo, and they figured out what we needed to do against the Saints, and then we got back and got things cleaned up and tried to get some rest, and now focusing on Tennessee and the challenge that presents, and seeing if we can't continue to enhance the things that we do well and improve the things that we're not doing well, and then eliminate the stuff that could or will or has gotten us beat.
Like, what has this team done well for you? Obviously, physically, football is like that, but mentally, what has this team done well for you?
Well, I mean, I think that they try to come in with the same approach every week of, what did we do well? What do we have to improve on? They try to learn a new opponent, try to build a routine, a consistent routine, try to practice and really have the energy and the speed required to, not only improve but to prepare for another opponent that's different and kind of everybody's been ready to go. Try to get him to prepare as a starter every week, no matter who it is.
Mike, a midstream coaching change can, I would imagine, cause a little bit of uncertainty as to exactly how Mike McCoy might approach things differently from the way Brian Callahan has, and it can always, I think, we've seen over the years, sometimes the team can get a bump from that type of thing.
Yeah, I mean, we'll have to be prepared for everything. You know, there's a lot of fakes in the history with the coordinator. Maybe go for it more on, you know, whatever situation. I just think we'll have to be prepared for whatever that may be, whatever wrinkles, things that Mike liked or didn't like, and that's going to be his prerogative, and we'll have to be prepared for whatever it is, and try to execute the keys and try to, you know, all the things that we feel like are important each and every week. So there's no way to know. You can watch the tape and understand some of the players and the play style, you know, and however they call the game, they'll call it a game.
What was facing Jeffrey Simmons, the rookie quarterback?
Quick delivery, to be able to get it out of his hand when he decides. I thought that there was some really good accuracy, some ball placement that allows for good run after catch. That you know, I think there's a willingness to stand in there. He's got contact courage. I don't see him staring at the rush a lot. Has the ability to scramble when need be and scramble for first downs. Doesn't look like he's very rattled. I think that his composure is very good, and his demeanor. And you know, again, I saw a quote from him in preseason that said, you know, he watched his dad get up for a job at 4:30 every morning that he didn't like, and he figured he could get up that early for one that he did. And you know, I think that that's just a good reminder for all of us that someone that young could say things that mature. So again, I think that that's a good approach to his job.
You guys have been facing Jeffrey Simmons this weekend. What was your experience coaching him, and was there any ways that he made you better as a coach, just a player that talented and effective?
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, great players make good coaches. I really enjoy Jeffrey personally. You know, we've maintained a relationship. I'm glad that we do. He's playing really well, playing at a high level. He plays hard. He's got great play demeanor. Plays a lot of snaps, but he doesn't. You know, the ones that he's in there for, which is a lot. It's not like he picks and chooses when he's going to play hard. But also, I felt like he always shared the message from us to the staff, to the locker room. I think he was a good leader for us. You know, it'd be a huge challenge here this week for us to be able to block them and to neutralize them and try to gain some yards.
Mike, after the last game, you in the video the Patriots posted said, "I'll give every one of them a ball." I'm just curious why you said that, and also just how you feel the culture.
It was the quickest thing I could do to get us out of there and get back home. Instead of go down the list of Drake May, Kayshawn Boutte, Marcus Jones. We recognize all those guys, you know. But, you know, just it feels like a team win. I mean, back and forth, and the defense stepping up and guys making plays in the second half to help us. And, you know, Christian Ellis, who put so much into it, and hammered a football out. And, you know, schools, you know, continuing to factor on special teams again. But now we're on to the next week, and, you know, just wanted to try to get out of there as soon as we could to get back home to try to get some rest and to get on to this week.
Mike, I heard general discussion this week about running backs in general and quickness versus speed. Where do your running back group stand with quickness and speed, and what do you think is more important, quickness or speed?
I just tell them run where they ain't, and that's the only way that I know how to coach them is to tell them to take care of the ball. I think that speed, you know, obviously is a distance. Quickness may be being able to change direction without having to take too many steps, right? Being able to put your foot in the ground and either jump cut or get downhill, whatever that may be. I think whatever the play style is, whatever the skill set is for each player, it's important that they own it and they make them their own. You know, Derrick Henry, for an example, wasn't the quickest player, but he had speed. And so, you know, again, we tried to emphasize that for him and not make him think that he had to play like a certain, you know, back that had a different play style.
Mike, is it true that you reached out to Brian Callahan this week?
Is that true? Yeah, sure. Why? Of course I did. I mean, I don't want to see anybody that shares a job with you. I mean, get let go. That's not the. That's a tough feeling. With family and school and whether it's in college or pro, like we're in the media every single day, and there's a human element to this, and that I don't want to forget. I just remember all those coaches or people that reached out after I was let go, and I think that's important because nobody texts when you lose; they all text when you win. So it's a good reminder.
Mike, when you were let go, I'm sure it stung a lot. When you look at where you are now, are you kind of grateful the way things have worked out?
I'm grateful for another opportunity and being here, and love coaching, love being here, and everything else. I was grateful for Kevin and Andrew and the Haslams for having me in Cleveland. And you just hope that if you get another shot, another opportunity, like we tell our players, be ready for it and take advantage of it.
Mike, you said that you keep in touch with Jeffrey Simmons. I think you've said something in the past about other players too. What's that look like? Just kind of checking on the family, checking on how they're doing?
How they're doing, and thank them. Thank them for what they did while we were together and helped me, be a coach. And whether they have a good game or there's something going on, or whether they had something happen in their life or there was some adversity or some positive. I mean, no different than you would anybody else that you had a relationship with.
Mike, when you heard the news that Brian had been fired this week, what was your reaction, and were you surprised?
I didn't have again, I just had a focus here. And again, the surprises in our business shouldn't be surprises. There's just things happen in this league. And it's a decision that they made. I didn't have a particular reaction to it other than trying to get ready for the game on Sunday.
Mike, I know you guys are still 3 weeks basically from the trade deadline, but I'm curious, given where you guys sit in the standings and how you've played, if that at all impacts how aggressive you'll be in trying to acquire talent.
I don't know if that has a bearing on it. I think we'll just continue to try to strengthen the roster each and every day. Sometimes those are small moves, maybe bigger ones, but I don't think that right now those conversations are centered around what our record is currently. I don't think that that's something that really bears into it. We're building something, and if any of those things can help us build and strengthen us and allow us for long-term, consistent success, then I think that's what we should try to do.
Mike, I know you said on Monday some things are important and other things are interesting.
Mm-hmm. You like that, huh?
See, I did actually. Do you also talk to the players about that sort of thing, knowing that they could get amped up for you specifically to try to win this game in Tennessee?
Yeah, we're not trying to win one for the Gipper here. We're just trying to make sure that these guys are focused on improving, and I think that they are. I think they're locked in, and hopefully, we can get them as prepared as we possibly can between now and Sunday.
How do you feel like you've grown as a coach and a person based off your time in Tennessee?
You guys always ask me the same question, like some reflective question. It's, you try to learn every day. You try to learn. Don't forget how important and critical the relationships are with the players, how important the players are to this thing. I think building a program of people that, believe in a common goal, that want to try to support the program that we're building in positive ways, help them grow. How do I support them? How can we develop them? How can we develop young coaches and young players and young scouts and everything else?
Being second time, how much has this affirmed you wanting to be a head coach and enjoying being a head coach after what you went through?
Yeah, I mean, it's hard to enjoy it. Admittedly, I think it's hard to enjoy it. But, that didn't. I knew once I got to Cleveland that there was, I was sure that nothing else I wanted to do than to have that another opportunity if I could get it. And I think you have to try to find different ways to enjoy it. and the good and the bad, having been through both. So go ahead.
How do you see the quarterback's role in terms of helping your team establish in the run game?
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I had that conversation with Drake on Monday, and his encouragement and how he can continue to encourage a group of linemen, players that line up in front of him that have done a fairly good job of protecting him. We know how important and critical that is, but also explaining and encouraging and also keeping everybody on the same page as we come up. And, we have our different, ID system that we're working to, and making sure that everybody's on the same page, making sure that the call is clean, and making sure that the run alert is the one that we want to get to. And so the quarterback can have a critical role in the run game. It takes all 11, and certainly starts with the quarterback. But I appreciate that. Thank you.
Hey, Mike, just to clarify, Mike, did you mean hard to coach? Just the whole profession?
Hard to enjoy.
Hard to enjoy.
All right, that's Mike Vrabel. His Wednesday press conference. Anything?
I mean, I do like the way he.
Are we back? Oh, there we are.
The verbal. I do like the way he kind of spars with us a little bit.
Yeah.
And it's not confrontational in any way. It seems like more lighthearted, but you guys asked me the same, that kind of stuff,
right.
and
it's conversational.
He was asked, he was asked about the comment, which I did kind of enjoy his comment about, it's interesting and important, the fact that he's the former Titans coach going back to Nashville to coach against the Titans, and he's like, you like that one, huh? And Fred, you were like, you like that, like the whole Kirk Cousins thing, but I just think. He's not giving a lot of state secrets.
No.
I just think I find his conversational tone a lot easier to deal with on a day-to-day basis than Bill.
Yeah.
I mean, I would probably find, I found Gerard a lot easier to deal with on a day-to-day basis than Bill too, but I just feel like Mike is a little bit more sort of focused.
I don't think Mike has the disdain for the media that Bill
and
had.
that he doesn't, I don't think very many people had the disdain that Bill had for the media, but I'm sure that Mike gets frustrated with us a lot. Right out of the chute, the first question, and this is all people are talking about nationally, right? I'm listening to ESPN this morning. There was a segment on Get Up about the Patriots in first place and can they dethrone the Bills,
right?
And then Stephen A. Smith, same thing on First Take. So this is a national story. By the way, let me take this opportunity before I get on with my point to say to you,
yes,
you asked, and we went back and forth about this, heading into the Buffalo game, what a Patriots win would do to change. And I sort of said, in Buffalo, it'll be a blip on the radar. And I think that that's sort of been accurate. But nationally, your point was people are going to start talking about, is Drake May worthy of dethroning Buffalo? And you were right.
Yeah.
I was wrong. You were right. So I just like to be fair, Fred. I mean, I tell people this all the time. When you talk for a living, you're not always going to be right.
Right.
There's no shame.
And you have to say things.
Yeah, and there's no shame in admitting when you got one right, admitting when you got one wrong. Sometimes it happens.
Yeah.
I think in Buffalo, they're sort of worried about themselves, and they still think that they're the class of the AFC East, if not the AFC in general.
They're less worried about us than themselves.
But nationally, they are doing exactly what you thought might happen by the way that Drake May is playing.
Yeah.
But just like that whole question right out of the chute that Karen asks about being in first place, and he's like, they're not going to cancel the rest of the season. He wants to downplay it. He wants to keep the guys on the task at hand.
Deuce has gone to the locker room, so I don't think we'll see him no more, Paul.
No. Because it was a little later today, and to the show. But I mean, I thought there wasn't a ton on that bone there for Mike today.
The last question,
but he did talk to Brian Callahan, which I thought was interesting.
Yeah.
And I had seen that because just to let people know sort of the inner workings, Mike did a call with the Tennessee media prior to doing his press conference today. And I had seen some of the Tennessee writers had tweeted that quote out.
Yep.
that he had said that he had reached out to Brian Callahan.
Yeah. The last question from one of the media was, what role can Drake play in helping the running game get better? And Vrabel said, "Oh, that's a good question. It's something that we just talked to Drake about." So I think we'll be getting a lot of stories now. People running. Okay. Oh, I've got today's story.
Okay.
From a lot of your people. Actually, Evan's people.
I was going to say, not my people.
Yeah, actually, Evan's people. So, yeah, I not a really huge noteworthy press conference, but, it's just good they're interesting now a little bit. You get something out of it.
Well, it's like what I talked about a little bit yesterday. It's sort of nice and refreshing to talk about the team big picture in terms of, like we're talking about the trade deadline that's still 3 weeks away, 4 weeks away, whatever it is, and adding and bolstering for a run at the division title, for home playoff game potential, and being ahead of schedule. It's nice to talk about things that might derail that, as opposed to, can we just show some improvement? That would be we're now moved past that, which is great.
Right. Jack in Ann Arbor has the Titans version of Stutter Stiff that has become a weekly email for him. This is the Titans edition. Stutter Stiff, Cam Ward.
I'm going to say stud.
Okay. Van Jefferson.
Stiff.
J.C. Latham.
I don't know much about him, other than what I talked about earlier, but I'm going to say stiff based on Jeffrey Simmons.
Yeah, I think the next one, Jeffrey Simmons, we think is a stud. And finally, L'Jarius Sneed.
Stud. A lot of these guys fall in between, but that's not the way the game is set up. Can I trouble you? I don't know if you know. You gave me a trivia question before about. I don't know if you have that. I don't know if you have that answer.
Darn it!
I'm gonna guess.
Hold on. Let me get there. Yeah.
We had rushing touchdowns in 02. I'm gonna. I don't know the answer to this, either one of these, but I'm going to have guesses.
Okay.
I'm going to guess Antoine Smith in 02, and I really don't know this other one. LeGarrette Blount.
Okay, I can tell you that you're wrong.
Both? Can I go Kevin Falk for 02?
I don't know. Let me just. Darn it.
Right,
what did I do with that?
If you can't find it, it's not that important.
No, but I wanted. I'll give you one of the answers is Tom Brady.
Oh,
I think that was 02.
Oh, I should have known that. That's a fairly memorable touchdown. Yeah, 02. Yeah.
Let me see. But the other one.
Good question. That's good stuff.
Why can't I find this? See, this is an example, folks. You think we don't get a lot of emails, but
Fred can't even find it.
Right,
He's rifling through so many. Maybe we'll go James White. No. What was it 17? That game, 18.
Yeah, that's it. I've lost it.
All right,
I've lost it. It's
maybe that guy will send another one back in.
So if you're the person who sent that, I forget who it was. If you're the person who sent in that email, why don't you resend it and it'll get to the top of
the queue.
Yeah. Jake in Melbourne, Australia writes in. He wants to talk about Grant Delpit, the safety out of the Browns. Was a cut candidate during the offseason, but has had a strong start. Has one more year left in his deal. Should be a target as a trade candidate. That's a position of need.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not against any of these options. I think that they need depth in the secondary, linebacker. And we talked about edge rusher. They need running backs. I'm not. Yeah.
Kylan Pembroke. We were talking about this off air. Jacoby Myers as a trade candidate.
Yeah, that one I'm not as interested in, but not because of Jacoby Myers, who I love. Yes, you know.
We love Jacoby Myers.
I just think he's another like what you have. And I think you already have sort of relationships with the quarterback. And now if you can make a major upgrade and bring in an A.J. Brown, like that to me is something you need to think about. But, I mean, how much better is Jacoby Myers than what you have?
Yep.
I'm not talking about stats. I'm talking about player.
Yep. Yeah, I didn't look at him. Paul said, I love Jacoby Myers, would love to have him back and his dad. Yeah. But he's not the complimentary receiver I think we're looking for.
Fred, that trivia email is back at the top.
I got it. I got it. I'll get it. Yep. So
Just go along over there.
Answers for the trivia question was 0-2, Tom Brady, 10-yard rush in the third quarter. And then in 18, it was James Devlin, a 1-yard rush in the second quarter.
Devlin. That's a great trivia question. Never would have gotten that.
So that's Tom and the Berkshires. Get that man a T-shirt.
Sorry. I'm costing us money.
No, but we got to get rid of the
Costing us
T-shirts,
merchandise.
right? We got to get rid of the T-shirts.
I got to be better.
Let's see. What's going on the phones? Oh, there's
I can tell you they lost the game in 02, 24-7 on a Monday night.
Yep, that's right. That's correct.
Just pause. Just stop. You didn't get it.
Spencer in Penn State. What's up, Spencer?
What's going on, guys? Thanks for taking my call. Love the show.
Thank you.
My dad's been a longtime listener all the way back to PFW in Progress, and now my brother and I are at Penn State, and we both listen.
It's a family thing.
I have just a quick question. Who's your all-time favorite Patriot that came from Penn State? Some of my honorable mentions would be Todd Rucci, Sam Gash, Rich Orenberger, and of course Chris Hogan, although he played lacrosse.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Also, one more thing. My dad's birthday is coming up in mid-November. He's been a loyal listener and raised 2 Pats fans, and I know he'd love to get his hands on a Patriots Unfiltered T-shirt.
Oh, we'll see what we can do about that.
We're just giving them away now. I like it.
Yeah.
Email your address and size to
Thanks again, you guys.
Podcast.
Keep up the great work. We are.
All right, thanks, Spencer. I mean, I don't know all the players that were from Penn State, but of the ones he mentioned, I'd say Sam Gash would be my favorite.
I would agree, and I thought this, so my answer is going to be Michael Timpson. I thought Michael Timpson was a Penn State guy. I just looked it up. He is. Michael Timpson.
Okay.
He was good.
I wonder,
good player.
In the 60s, if there were some Penn State
Oh,
guys.
I'm sure there were. Penn State,
Yeah.
probably a linebacker or two, no?
Yeah. But, of that list, Sam
I was going to
Gash.
ask Spencer, who's going to be the new coach? James Franklin.
Yeah.
Won't be seeing him no more.
Imagine that getting $50 million to go away.
Yeah, I mean,
I'd be like, see ya.
the absurdity of college football in general, but just thinking about 3 weeks ago, and I saw 1 million people had tweeted about this, but 3 weeks ago, they had a touchdown lead in overtime as the number 3 team in the country against Oregon in a game they ultimately ended up losing, and they've lost 2 more since then to teams that they had no business losing to, UCLA and Northwestern. But 3 weeks ago, Fred, they were 1 defensive stop away from probably being the number 2 team in the country. Last year, they were in the college football playoffs. I think they were in the Final 4. And now the guy's out of a job 3 weeks later.
Yep.
That's amazing to me. And I'm not necessarily saying that Penn State's ridiculous for doing it, because he's had a hard time beating anybody of any substance. Their record against top 10 teams is abysmal, top 5 teams, whatever. And that Oregon game stung.
There's always been firings in midseason.
There's been a lot of midseason in college this year, especially.
Right. And do you think it's going to get worse because now it's like a pro program now? Now they're paying kids and the money is there and the boosters have more control because they're the ones spending the money.
And they can do it above board.
Right.
I got to pay a $50 million buyout?
Yeah.
All right. You don't have to pretend that you're not getting it from these boosters anymore. You know.
And if I'm paying for his buyout, what say do I have in the next head coach? I mean,
I know these
Baker's
people.
got his work cut out for him.
I'm
talking about the head of the NCAA,
Charlie Baker.
Charlie Baker.
He's got no shot, and it's not his. It's not
No,
his
it's not his
fault.
fault. What a
yeah. But and people mistake this all the time. A little late in the show to bring up something like this, but there's going to be tremendous interest in college football and in college basketball. There always is, especially nationwide. Maybe not as much around here for us, but people confuse that with, I thought it was going to ruin the game. It has ruined the game. I'm sorry, it has. It's not the same with all this transferring and free agency and money going back and forth and all of this stuff. Yeah, we're going to keep watching because we love football, and we're going to keep watching, and we love the college basketball tournament. And again, not so much in Boston. This is more of a nationwide thing. you know, you're not going to ruin basketball for like the Kansas Jayhawks, you know, by doing this stuff, but it's not as good a product. It's not as good to if you were like watching this stuff, Fred, and you have to see like 10 guys that you really enjoy watching in football in the 2025 season and they just leave, even if you have a great program.
Right.
It's just the nature of the business.
Yep.
That's good for anybody.
Right. One more email to close out the show. This is Rick in Louisville. Have to express what many others that listen, watch probably think. Right now, I'm going through one horrific storm after another. I'm not saying that to get sympathy. I know this isn't the Dr. Phil show. I just want to express my gratitude towards all of you, which includes the people behind the scenes that we don't see or hear. Your show does what sports should do, give us an escape from life, which is the way, which is really hard these days. Thank you for everything you do. Yes, the X's and O's are the meat and potatoes of the show, but the way you guys present stuff leaves me laughing sometimes and gives me just a break from the next possible tornado heading down my path.
Oh, man.
The pick segment is my favorite, and I love to listen to Fred try and show his expertise explaining the sharps or taking a hook that isn't there. Then Paul trying to explain it is even funnier. Keep this up. Like I said, I know there are many out there that feel the way I do. I hope I get to run into you this weekend. Let's go take care of business and come home 5-2. Rick, you're who we do it for.
Yeah, and stay safe. And there has been a lot of weather. I'm a little bit more in tune with some of these storms down south.
Well, I think
because
he's
my
talking
son-
about his own personal storms.
Oh
too.
no, I know,
Yeah.
I know, but the weather has been I told you, like they have like a parade every week, and it was so bad in Charleston last week they had to cancel it.
Yeah.
And there's been a couple of like near hurricanes that have sort of veered off into the ocean. Yeah, no, I know what Rick's talking about. He's been a long time listener too. So yeah.
Yep.
Hang in there.
All right. That's going to be it for this edition of Patriots Unfiltered. We'll be back tomorrow at noon. It's a big day. We got picks. Any preview? How did we do as a group?
I'll just say that I am not in last place anymore.
Oh, okay. All right.
Starting to make my move. Make my move on Johnny Chan.
Okay. All right. We'll be back tomorrow.
Hey, this is Alex. Thanks for tuning into the show. If you really want to help us, make sure you like us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Also, make sure you follow us on the New England Patriots YouTube channel to see this show and everything else we do here at the Patriots. Thanks a lot.